on my computer too. Okay, hi everyone. We're still short a few folks here to get our meeting started, so we don't have a quorum yet. So let's get a count. Yeah, we only got about 11 of us here so far. We need a few more. So, well, we ended up with just over 8 inches of snow here in a matter of a few hours in Rangeley. So it finally quit. The skies opened up and now it's getting cold, real cold. So
did you say 8? Did you say 8 inches?
8 inches. 8 inches. Yes, 8.
Yeah, they had about 4 inches in an hour while we were at a meeting.
Yeah.
Alden was giving me garbage about not wanting to drive to Craig, and then all of a sudden I get a text on the way home, and I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah, I got a few responses back along that line tonight, Jenny. So I appreciate the tab there. So I wasn't the only one. I've got Tim and I got Vinny in here, and Vinny was actually in Craig.
Oh no. How was it on the way home, Vinny? Should he have stayed there?
I'm glad I came home.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was horrible on the way home. So it was like the days of old.
Yeah. So you got 26 now.
Coming right back, he had to go to a restaurant there in Phoenix, and he'll be back.
Really, you had to throw Phoenix in?
Yeah.
I bet it didn't snow there 8 inches. Yeah, I bet not.
I think I'm at 14 now.
I can see you, Al.
Hey, there we got Tom. Is that Tom? Are you in there?
Yep. Can you
Well,
see
that
me?
puts us- Yep, that puts us at 15. So I'm just doing another count because we got people popping in here quite regularly right now. So I thought I seen Sean Welder in here earlier, and I don't think I counted him. That makes 16. So that puts us at 50% almost.
Alden, do you know everybody that's in the room here? I don't know if you know everybody that's in this room.
No, I don't. How many you got in the room there?
Well, we got Steve Hinkmeyer. We always the question about the seats that are up for election are there. We got Jeff Comstock, Rich Thompson, and Casey Green. Casey Green's not up for election, but
Oh, we got enough. Let's start then. Okay, sorry. I'm living in a box over here in Rangeley right now, so forgive me for not realizing that, because I got 2 other folks here that I weren't counting either. I guess that outlines how my day was going. So sorry, folks, for being a little dense there. All right, let's call this meeting to order and let's get going. So we're gonna, we got a change of guard here tonight as well. We have Megan is stepping down tonight. This will be her last meeting with us. and we will be transitioning into a new recorder, Katie Camblin. Katie, are you with us this evening?
She is.
Yes, sorry.
Awesome.
No, no.
Thank you. Okay, so we got both our recorders sitting there right next to each other. Thank you for joining us. So, and we're going through an election, which is always kind of a tricky little process here. So Katie's going to be learning an election process, and Megan's going to be helping us work through that. And I'm so glad she hung around, because she's going to help us have a much more streamlined election here that Patrick and so many others have been helpful with us getting organized. So Katie, if you would, please take a few moments and kind of introduce yourself, if you would, please, to the group. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Put you on the spot.
Definitely, you're putting me on the spot, but that's okay. I am from Bags, Wyoming, actually, so I'm a Wyoming girl. I moved here to Craig about 4 years ago with my now husband, Carl Camblin. So Mike Camblin is my father-in-law. I went to school at the University of Wyoming and got a bachelor's degree in agricultural communication, and then I have my master's in communication. Right now, I'm currently working at CNCC as the concurrent enrollment coordinator. I have an extreme passion for agriculture, so I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Well, I'm really happy you joined us. So we've been looking for some time, and finding individuals interested, let alone that meet the qualifications, is wonderful. And you've exceeded all those. It'll be good to have you on board. So, but it's always sad when we see somebody move on, but Megan's moving on to bigger and better things. I think, Megan, you're going to be going with the CSU extension agent out of Moffat County. So congratulations on that. I seen a first email come through today with your new position. That was the first one I saw. So it was good to kind of see that, and I can keep your contact information available. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight and helping Caitlin kind of work through this. So with that, let's move forward and do roll call just to make sure we got everybody here. Jeff, you got your hand up?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I was just offering a clapping sound for Megan and her efforts on our behalf.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. She needs it. She's done an outstanding job. Truly, she has. So let's, if we can, I know, let's get moving on to the roll call, please.
Okay, I'll go down the list here. If you can't hear me, please throw a hand up or speak up. Doug Munger,
Here.
Tom Gray,
Here.
Janila,
Here.
Julie Baxter,
Here.
Steve Hinkemeyer,
Here.
Alden Vandenbrink,
Here.
Ken Brenner,
He will be here.
will be coming back. Okay, Mike Camlin, Sean Welder, Jay Sheehan, Tim Winkler,
Here,
Casey Green, here, Mike Itel,
I think Mike will no longer be with us, and the River District will be appointing someone new in his apps to replace him very soon.
that's right, thank you. Callie Hendrickson,
Here, thank you.
Brian Hodge, Will Myers,
Present.
Kent Fairtrees, I think said was going to be absent tonight.
No, I'm here for the moment.
Okay, thank you. Frank Alfone,
Here.
Rich Thompson,
Here.
Jeff Myers,
Here.
Jackie Brown,
Here,
Jeff Comstock,
Here.
Doug Davis,
Present.
Charles Whitman,
Here.
Chris Collins,
Here.
Jennifer Holloway,
here,
Travis Day, Bill Badaraka,
Here.
Vince Wilczek, T. Wright,
Present.
Patrick O'Toole, Jonathan Bowler,
Present.
and Jackie is here. Okay, perfect. Good, good.
I think we're there. So we're looking to approve or modify the agenda. I know I have one additional item that I would like to add. And I would suggest we put that under 10C. Not 10C, excuse me, 9C, make it 9C. And that would be IBCC representative appointment. We have one of our illustrious IBCC members, Mr. Tom Gray, is resigning tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as modified. This is Tim Winkler.
Second, Steve Ingmar.
I have discussion on that.
That's fine.
This, have we given enough time for people to consider whether they want to sit in this role? Have we?
I don't think we
appropriate
have,
time to make the appointment?
Yep, and if we don't get to appointment, I think it's fine that we table it to a later meeting if we need to. So, because some folks may want to weigh in and kind of learn more about what's involved with the task.
Okay, as long as it's not I don't think it's appropriate to appoint somebody tonight until we've given enough people
I
a
think
chance.
that's appropriate. So if we don't get to the appointment, I would accept that. So,
Okay.
so Tim, we've got a motion on the table. Do we have a second? I haven't heard one.
I don't know. I hadn't.
Steve?
Yeah, I seconded Al Alden.
Okay, so all in favor of accepting the agenda as modified, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion pass. Thank you. So minutes, discussion, review, and approve the September 14 minutes.
Al, this is Chris Collins. I've got a discussion point on the September minutes I'd like to discuss real quick or bring up.
Yeah, bring it up.
So it's in specific regards to 7B, the YIWMP, towards the bottom of the paragraph that, you weren't here at this meeting, but there was some discussion had about towards the end of the paragraph. I don't think it was properly reflected in the minutes. As far as the next steps on the IWMP and possibly sharing a project coordinator between the Yampa IWP and the White River IWMP. If my recollection is correct, I'm trying to read this real quick as well, but initially it was proposed that there was going to be a project coordinator, and then that discussion evolved into a grant coordinator for the two stream management plans, and then it reverted back to a project coordinator, and then but throughout this discussion, I think it needs to be reflected that there's two people present that are part of the White River Initiative that were opposed or concerned with having a central project coordinator, and that's not reflected in the minutes.
Is that your suggestion, is just making sure that those two opposed to it are mentioned in the minutes?
Well, yes, number one, but I don't think, I don't recall forming a subcommittee or anything like that in that meeting. It was brought up as a project coordinator, not a subcommittee.
Okay, I wasn't there, so unfortunately I can't really respond very intelligently to it other than just what you're seeing in the minutes read. So
so I know there's some other people that were there that are present here, so I don't know where we go from here or how we modify these minutes to truly reflect what was said.
Well, Megan, can I make a suggestion that we could maybe go back and review? Is there a point that we could go back and review the recording to accurately reflect that as well?
Yes, yeah, I'll go ahead and review the recording, and then what I might do is email the chairs and Chris with what I'm then taking the update to be to get some further clarification. Is that okay?
That works for me.
Yeah, this is Callie. I think that'd be a really good idea because it was a very, it went several different ways multiple times. And so I don't know how we fix the minutes. So yes, please, please do that. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so would we want to accept the minutes as they are, except for that one specific agenda or that minute item on the agenda, then that discussion item?
Do you need a motion?
Well, I'm looking to see if people are accepting to that, to where we
Oh,
accept
okay.
minutes outside.
Doug, I don't see that yet, so I guess maybe it'd be best that we ought to see it in writing, so I would table it for now and we come back next meeting, so I think that's a lot sounder.
And that's fine. That's a good sound suggestion, but we will need a second on that. So
I'll second that. This is Jenny.
thank you. So we do have a motion and a second to table this until we get those minutes clarified for the next meeting. So, and then we'll get those shared around. So, all in favor? Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of tabling the minutes until the next roundtable meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
And who said nay?
Steve Kinkmar.
Okay, Steve, you know protocol. You're gonna have to talk with Megan about why you're saying nay, so.
Yep.
And not a big deal, so you can keep it very brief. Okay, item 6, budget report and CWCB staff report. Jackie was going to kind of put her report in this as well, so at the same time. So we're going to yield the floor to Jeff and Jackie for the time being. Jeff, are you with us this evening? I thought I seen you there.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Apologize for not being on video and not being there in person. It was my intention to be there in person this meeting. Just the landscape summit that we were hosting was kind of an all hands on deck effort. I'm currently in transit, so my video is not working, but just wanted to provide a few updates for the roundtable and then answer any questions as always. So first things first, we have hired the water plan grant regional coordinators, and the person taking over the responsibilities for the Yampa, let's see here, that's the Yampa, the Colorado, the Gunnison, is Ashley Garrison, and she's going to be starting December 12th. So I imagine I'll be working very closely with Ashley as she gets onboarded, and I'm sure she'll come to the roundtable and have a proper introduction. I don't know if she lives, which basin she lives in or where she lives. Just a reminder that that's not a requirement of the job for them to live in basin, but I can certainly, if you have any specific questions, I can figure out kind of answers to those as we wait for her to get started. Applicant pool was really great, and we've hired some really great people as I understand it. So lots of project management experience, and I'm sure they will be a great help to the roundtable and to the water plan grant program. Let's see, just wanted to remind folks the CWCB portal is back up and running. We had a couple hiccups with the statewide requests, but that is functioning. So all statewide requests and WSRF requests for this upcoming December 1st deadline can be submitted through the portal. Also available on the portal are the local capacity and technical assistance grants from the HB 22-1379 funding. And just a reminder, there's $2.5 million available for local grantees to hire their own contractors to assist with federal grant applications and that whole process. And like I said, those applications are available in the portal. We're accepting applications on a rolling basis, making awards for those on a rolling basis as well. Also tied to that 1379 funding is another $2.5 million for CWCB to hire a contractor to support a federal grant applications. And we have selected the contractor. We're just in the process of getting those contracts ironed out with them. So more information will be available on that piece of the program probably later this month. Michael Regan is the primary point of contact for that program, and I can drop his email in the chat just in case you all have any questions. The point of those grants is to culminate in a federal grant application. So just wanted to remind folks there. More funding available. The CAWA grant, or the Colorado Ag Water Alliance, has a grant program which has a December 1st deadline, but that program is really geared towards agricultural producers that want to participate in a voluntary program to demonstrate and prove strategies for drought and water conservation on their land in 2023. So deadline December 1st. I can drop Greg Peterson's information in the chat as well. He's offered to help folks kind of talk about that program a little bit more, but also help folks identify projects and things like that in an effort to increase capacity. Want to remind the roundtables of the water plan celebration that we're in the process of planning. It's going to be January 24th, an evening event in Denver, kind of piggybacking off of Water Congress and the January board meeting. But really just wanted to bring together roundtable members, IBCC, the CWCB board, and staff to recognize all the hard work that went into the water plan update, from the BIP update process, all the technical update, all the way through the update of the water plan. It's been a pretty big lift, and you folks on the roundtable and everybody has been really influential in making that happen. So wanted to provide a little party and celebration for that. Also at that celebration, we are going to be recognizing Basin Heroes. Those awards are, to recognize folks for their exemplary water industry service, outstanding contributions to the water plan or to water industry, or innovative thinking in terms of a project that really embodies the vision of this water plan update and the strategies that we're looking to employ moving forward. So we'll send out voting information for the Basin Hero Awards, as well as RSVP information for the water plan celebration in probably late this week, maybe early next week at the latest. Just trying to finalize a couple last minute details with event space and things like that. So just wanted to remind you, I hope you already have that date on your calendar, but wanted to remind you that it's coming. Also, I mentioned the December 1st WSRF deadline. That's for basin requests and statewide requests. Just a reminder, moving forward, we are accepting statewide requests at every CWCB WSRF deadline, not just the 2 times a year like we have in the past. So every bi-monthly deadline for WSRF, we'll accept statewide requests there too. December 1st is also a water plan grant deadline, so just wanted to remind you all of that. And I believe you don't have any stimulus funds left, but if you do, those funds need to be approved by the BRT to be reviewed by the CWCB board at the May 2023 board meeting in order for those funds to not expire. I think they technically expire in July, but that May board meeting would be the last time the board could allocate any funding from HB 21-1260. Just a reminder, there's a new WSRF updated balance summary sheet posted on the WSRF webpage. Each basin and PEPO all have $1 million in them. That's just a temporary increase above the $750,000 cap. That cap is still in effect. The statewide grant program has about $11 million in it as of right now. I know of a bunch of statewide requests that are coming in amongst many of the basins. So that's really great to see. And we're really excited that we can provide that program again. But just want to remind everybody with this influx of WSRF funding, it's really a great time to really focus on localized projects and fund what you can out of the WSRF account. Because there's a little bit more funding available through WSRF right now than there is through water plan grants. I know that's kind of a flip from what it has been in the past, just with severance tax volatility and things like that. But there's only about $8 million left in the water plan grant bucket for the rest of the fiscal year. So we anticipate having to either lower a lot of water plan grant requests or just completely deny them, just based on the cycle and the competitive nature of the grant program. So just know that right now there's a lot of funding available in WSRF funds. So just kind of want to remind each roundtable that funding what you can at the local level and through WSRF is a great thing to do, and also will really help us lobby the legislature and continue to get this influx of funding into WSRF, which is our intention. We want this program to be well funded, and the more money we spend out of the basin accounts and the statewide account gives us a little bit more power to ask for that money at least. So that's all I had. I'll turn it over to Director Brown or take any questions, or I can hang around too. I'll be around all night. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to jump in.
Questions?
Yeah, I can wait until questions.
Okay, hearing none, let's move forward. Jackie?
Okay, awesome. Well, I was hoping to join you in person tonight, but I have COVID, so I can't. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it till my appointed time at the end of the meeting. So I appreciate you guys letting me go a little bit early here. A couple things out of the CWCB. We have our November meeting next week. We continue to talk about the Colorado Airborne Snow Monitoring funding requests. I know some of you in the room are familiar with that. So we will see that request and an update coming through, and I'll be happy to report on how that goes after the meeting. And thanks, I know, to Ken Brenner. He's been a champion of that program, and it's something that the board has prioritized. I think it seems like all of the board members are really excited for the Airborne Snow Observatory program. So we keep pushing it forward and trying to get all the funding we can to move it as fast as the folks that are in charge of that program can make their requests. So, data really helps everybody do better forecasting and have better understanding of how to manage water. So we're we're excited about that. I think maybe some bigger news that some of you may or may not have heard is that Governor Polis released his budget proposal for DNR, Department of Natural Resources. And one of the things on that was the new Colorado River positions. And part of that is taking Commissioner Becky Mitchell and the role of the Colorado River Commissioner, taking that and kind of separating it, not kind of, actually separating it from the CWCB director, and then staffing right now 9 positions is what the proposal shows to support Becky in Colorado River negotiations and the work there. So keep in mind that and so that would mean that there would be, if this passes through the legislature and is signed by the governor, then these positions would become available in July of 2023. So, you know, things can change obviously between now and especially during session. Typically, the budget is not passed, you know, until later on in the session. So we've still got a lot of time there. And I think most people know that that is the rationale behind this is obviously that the job of commissioner that Becky's been doing is incredibly time consuming and doesn't allow for her to do the other very time consuming role of CWCB director. So effectively, Lauren Reese, who is the deputy director, has authority to step in and act as the CWCB director when necessary, when Becky's traveling, et cetera. So that's sort of how things are working now and what to expect in the coming budget year, in the coming legislative year regarding the governor's budget. So any questions on that? I should say too, if there's no questions, that it's my understanding, and we have not really, yeah.
You're right, go ahead.
Yeah. Jackie, this is T. Wright. On that aerial snow deal, are we asking or are we leveraging Bureau Reclamation? Because that whole Flaming Gorge thing, Bureau Rec ought to be kicking into this thing. Are they?
I am just looking, so my board packet does not have any information on that. I will have to ask that question. I'm sorry, T. Wright, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me make a note.
Just FYI for you, from the Flaming Gorge Working Group, when Ken brought this up, I advocated from that working group as a member that to Bureau Rec that they ought to be kicking in, and frankly, they told me at the time kind of pound sand. But the NOAA gals and stuff that use that information the last meeting or so have indicated that they are watching it. And so I guess I would encourage you guys from the state level to lever the Bureau Rec to contribute to that. Thank you.
Ken? What's on your mind?
Jackie, you're on mute.
Yeah, Jackie, I just wanted to echo.
Sorry, guys.
I just wanted to echo what T. Wright was saying as far as I think there's really broad support up here. And I know I certainly approached the representatives at the Water Congress this summer. You know, when they stood up there and told us that they have $12.6 billion that they need to spend in recovery funds or the infrastructure and IRA, and yet this seems like a really small ask is for the Bureau of Reclamation to be supplying a significant amount of funding to support this flight program for the state or for the upper basin. Especially if a key part of the negotiations with the Bureau of Reclamation in the lower basin is about they will have a water supply that's equal to the amount of water that's produced, and they might want to actually know what that is. That it's a finite number, and it's not the 10 million acre feet of water that they're used to. So you certainly have this basin's support, I believe, saying that this is an important thing, that Becky's got our support, that they should be pressing hard for regular support for these winter flights. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. So I'll just give you a little bit of background. The board's priority currently is for the state of Colorado to have statewide data from the ASO. It is very difficult for the Colorado Airborne Snow Monitoring folks to scale this as quickly and professionally as we need it scaled. There are not enough airplanes. So when we told them in July, we were like, we have money, we want to fund this. This is, top priority for us. Figure out how we scale this up, what the obstacles are, what we can do, and let it come back to us and let us know. And so they're coming back to us in November next week to build off of our request, which was, let's get this thing all over Colorado. And so many of you may know that they're covering California. That's their largest state that they do this work for. There's talk about how they can share airplanes, what that can look like. I think it's a great suggestion that the whole basin has it, but I just want to give you that problem, which is, not enough scalability at this point. And that is the focus on Colorado for us, has been making sure that Colorado's covered. So I will share with Becky the concept of, covering the basin. And I imagine that they've had those conversations, but I think it's obviously a great suggestion, and I'll see what she says about that so I can come back and share it with you all. But just to give you the flavor of kind of what we're dealing with this program, that's the big obstacle.
Thanks. That's great to hear. We're not asking them to build us a giant reservoir. We don't need another Lake Powell. We just need them to help us know more accurately exactly what Mother Nature is going to share each year. Sure.
And again, I think the state has the money to do what we need to do within the state right now. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn with that. I think that we can cover it. I think the Bureau funding it is a great idea. It has been my frustration that getting federal money for reasonable things is pretty hard. And so this covers both of those boxes, a reasonable thing and money. I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but whether or not it's actually feasible in the long haul, we'll see. My optimism dwindles when it comes to that, but it's a good idea. So thank you. And I see your note, Ken. Yes, it would be great if they would match it. When they could match it, when that money would show up, that's a different question too. So what can we do this winter? What can we do 2023, 2024 winter? And how can we scale this program into the future? and help cover it with funds, I think is a broader question, and one that I'm happy to carry forward. I wanted to give you two, since that was a great segue into, sorry you guys, I'm a little bit slow tonight, into Colorado River stuff. So two things have happened recently in the Colorado River. And one of those things is that we will hear anyone that wants to travel to Las Vegas in December ahead of the Colorado River Water Users Association meeting can attend the Upper Basin River Commission meeting and hear the results of the demand management feasibility investigation that the UCRC did for the Upper Basin as a whole, not individual states, but as a whole. So we will hear that then, and that should be interesting. You'll all hear, I'm sure, in the press about what that says if you're not in attendance, and I'm happy to talk about it at our next meeting as well. Also, the Department of the Interior issued a notice of intent to do a supplemental environmental impact statement for operations at Glen Canyon and Hoover. And so this is regarding operational changes that have been proposed for 2023 and 2024. And the Bureau, this is part of the process that the Bureau is taking to consider releases below 7 million acre feet out of Powell, which is not written into the 07 interim guidelines. So that's why it needs the supplemental EIS. Any questions on that?
Well, Jackie, has the Bureau made a statement yet about whether or not they're going to maintain the minimum power generations in Powell and Meade? Because if they make that determination, then that means, you know, that means their bank account's pretty well empty. And what they're going to get down there is what we send them, what Mother Nature provides. Have they made that determination, or is there a timetable on that?
A timetable on, so that's what this supplemental EIS will show. It will show the proposal of releases on a monthly basis. Because it's below 7, it would not meet the requirements currently in the 07 guidelines, because there are amounts associated, you know, the math just doesn't check out. And so questionable if we're going to see impacts to the long-term environmental management plan out of Glen Canyon as well, because, you know, there's a lot of different releases that happen out of Hoover, or excuse me, out of what the hell is that frickin' dam's name? Glen Canyon, I'm sorry. Lake Powell, Glen Canyon. Like the bug flow releases and the sediment releases. And so, and high flow experiment. So all of this has to be considered when they do this EIS. And to your point about hydropower, they will do this proposal and they will show, we don't have anything yet, what they're actually proposing as far as release volumes on a monthly basis, and then on a time of day basis too, will be relative to how much hydropower will be available to WAPA. And that's what'll get fleshed out during the CIS.
And I'd say, this is Doug, I'd say on the tour, we had the Bureau of Representative there. They continue to allude that their priorities are, number one, safety of the facilities. Number two is water provision. And number three is the power. So those things all have to mix together, I think, is what they kind of inferred to us.
Yeah, and again, we don't know how these other planning documents will weigh in on the operations as well, because you can't just throw the L-temp aside and, you know, the endangered fish aside and say that, you know, now we have smallmouth bass in between Powell and Mead, which is a huge issue. And so there's a lot of things at play. It's a big deal. It's too early to talk about what this means until we get rolling in this EIS and see what it brings us. And I'm sure, as you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of people commenting, including the hydropower customers and the environmental NGOs that work with the fish, endangered fish programs and all of the work that they've been doing over time to protect the Grand Canyon and the environment down there. Any other questions or comments on Colorado River stuff? I only have one more thing and I'll let you guys move on.
Keep going, Jackie. You're doing great.
Okay, cool. Water plan. I wanted to share with you that all of the comments have been received and tallied, so to speak, and are up on the same website that you would have commented on the original, or excuse me, on the second. The update to the water plan, that engagecwcb.org. So you can read the comments if you're interested or see how they were kind of parsed out. And we will, the board, the CWCB board will be looking at those comments in November and making a decision on how they should or should not be incorporated into the draft plan as well. So, and then Jeff did a great job and mentioned that I hope any of you that are planning to come down to Denver for Water Congress or not for Water Congress, if that's not your cup of tea, you know, please hold the evening of January 24th for the water plan land launch celebration. And if Jeff didn't say it, you know, the water plan couldn't have come together without the work that everyone on these roundtables and concerned citizens did on the basin implementation plans. I know it's a huge lift. I worked on the first one, and thank you to everybody that's here and listening for your work on that. So thanks. I'm happy to take any questions and hope to join you when I'm feeling 100% next time.
I get you. Thanks, Jackie. I hope you rest well and get feeling better pretty soon. So it sounds
Thanks,
like
Al.
several people got COVID again. So it's
Tis the season.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So we need to keep moving along here. So we have public input at this time. Does anybody have anything they would like to public input that they would like to visit with our roundtable group about? Please come forward, raise your hand, grab a mic, whatever you want us to do. Not seeing anyone. Let's move forward. Okay. Elections. I'm going to need some help with this again, like we have in the past. This has kind of been an evolution because it's never been easy. And then last year we had our last election, we had to come up with a hybrid version. So we did that as best as we could. After COVID kind of shut us down, and Megan came through with something on Google Docs that I hope can work well for this situation. Having a hybrid trying to do an election is not a perfect process. So please, you have to understand there's some complexities that roll into this. So we do our very best. So tonight we're going to be rolling out a trial run on this thing. We think we've vetted it out, but still you never know. So we have several seats that are open. I know Megan's going to be sharing a link, I believe, to everyone on how to do the voting. But I would like to give an opportunity for those that have submitted an application for consideration to be elected, to have a few minutes and visit with the board. We have a couple of new folks that have applied, and we have a couple of incumbents that are applying as well, and a couple of folks that are not going to be reapplying. Brian Hodges being one as well. So his environmental seat will be looked at as well. So with that, I'm going to go down the list that I have in front of me, and I don't have the full complete list available of who's all running right here in front of me. So if I miss somebody, Megan or whoever, Patrick, if you're working with us on here, please help me identify those individuals so we can give them a few moments to address the roundtable. So with that, I know Kent Ventries is with us. I know he's on the road right now. So I kind of wanted to give him an opportunity to visit with us here if he so choose. So Kent?
Hey, gang. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much, Alden. And yeah, I'd love to reapply and sit on the roundtable again. As you all know, I've been involved since the beginning of the roundtable and am happy to continue my path. To save time, I think you all know what I do and who I am. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Short and sweet. Thank you. Frank, I have you, Frank Alphone. He's the domestic water provider. And I believe Frank is with us tonight. Frank, would you have a few words you'd like to say tonight?
Yeah, sure do, Alden. Thanks, everybody. Good evening. My name is Frank Alphone. I'm the general manager with Mount Warner Water, who is the domestic water supply source for all of the city of Steamboat Springs residents. Thanks for accepting my application. I've actually served in this position for one term, so I've been on the board since November of 2017. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve and work closely with everyone on this roundtable and get to know everyone a little bit better. I am interested in serving again and interested in learning more. I've learned a lot in my first 5 years and certainly have a lot more to learn. So excited about the next 5 years if reelected, if you will. One of the things I think is worth noting is I strongly believe that it's important that people participate not only at the board level, but in subcommittees. Our committees on this Basin Roundtable do a lot of the heavy lifting and do a lot of the work. And I've been on various subcommittees in the past, including the rewrite of the Basin Implementation Plan. I was on the initial startup of the IWMP for the Yampa here. And then I currently serve as the vice chair of the Grants Committee. So I've been helping out there for quite a while now. So participation on committees is important, and you have my word that I will continue to do that. I think I'm a solid representative for the BRT to fit this water provider role. And I think my experience as general manager at the district, along with the 5 years that I've had with this board, make me a good candidate. And I appreciate the opportunity. And thanks for the consideration.
Thanks, Frank. Next on the list is Mr. Rich Thompson. Rich has been with us for quite some time too. So Rich, you're here tonight, I know.
I'm here. Yeah, I've been on the board for 2 terms. This will be my 3rd one. My experience, my background is the Craig Station and the water usage that we have and how we use the river for transporting water, reservoir rights, and we've done some pretty good sized projects on the river over the years to straighten and get water flow into the pump house. I work with many people within the community with water issues at times. And I'd be honored to be able to serve again around the term.
Thanks, Rich. Next is Jeff Myers. Jeff, are you with us yet?
Thanks. I don't think that I need 3 minutes. It's been a pleasure and an honor really to serve. And I would be happy to take any questions that anyone has for me. I'm more than happy to serve if you all agree.
Appreciate that. Next, I have Mr. Jeff Comstock.
Okay, thanks, Al. Well, I would appreciate any support I could get to be reappointed to the Basin Roundtable. I've served on this board since its inception, and I continually learn every meeting I go to on it. There's an incredible amount of water expertise here. I've served on the Big River Committee and the IWMP committee as that was going through. I spend my daytimes working for the Moffett County Commissioners as a public lands policy guy. We spend a lot of time on agriculture, water, and road issues, several, any topic that affects the county when it comes to natural resource work. So I would very much appreciate support, and I'd love to be reappointed to this committee. It's a fantastic board to serve on. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Great. Next is Mr. Doug Davis.
Easy on the mister there, buddy. I'm a semi-retired former financial advisor and general partner in the financial services industry. I live and work at a small ranch next to Elkhead State Park. We are committed to habitat improvements. Currently serving on Moffett County Land Use Board, the Great Northern Water Conservancy District, Alpenglow, which is a nonprofit doing some river restoration work on the Yampa. This was my first term on the roundtable. And really it's, water in the West and specifically our basins seems to be one of the most important factors to our way of life here in Northwest Colorado. And being involved with the roundtable is something that I have a passion for. So I would like to continue to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Madison Muxworthy. Did I say that last name right? Madison, are you with us this evening?
Coming up to the Al.
Yo, what?
She's coming up so you can hear her. Yeah.
Perfect. Hello, my name is Madison Muxworthy. I'm excited and honored to be here tonight to be applying for the environmental and at-large seats on the Basin Roundtable. I've lived in the Yampa Valley for about 8 years now, and I love the area. My current position is with the Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. I work as the soil moisture, water and snow program manager there. And before that, I studied at Colorado Mountain College, where I got my bachelor's in sustainability studies. Tonight, I wanted to highlight 3 collaborative multi-benefit projects that I work on every day. And I think that they've prepared me well to contribute as a member and relate closely to the work of the Basin Roundtable. The first is the project in which I lead, which is to establish a soil moisture monitoring network here in the Upper Yampa River Basin. And it aims to provide real-time data for decision makers critical to water management. And this project is valuable to all users in the basin. The second is a water conservation education program. And this is in partnership with the City of Steamboat Springs, Mount Warner Water and Sanitation District, and the Craig Sheckman Family Foundation. And this is helping our community adapt to water changes. And lastly, I serve as a co-chair for the Yampa Basin Roundtable, which is an annual conference co-organized here by local entities. And for example, we brought in water experts like Jeff Deans from Airborne Snow Observatories, Chuck Collin with Upper River Commission, and Paul Boucher with Reeder Creek Ranch and the Colorado Water Conservation Board. I think that this conference really ties in a lot of the work of the Basin Roundtable. And over the years, I've listened to Basin Roundtable meetings, and I truly value the work of the Basin Roundtable. And I'd be interested in serving on the grants, PEPO, and IWMP subcommittees. And I'm really committed to showing up and doing the work of the Roundtable. And I look forward to collaboratively working with all of you to serve Northwest Colorado on water issues. Thanks.
Thank you. Doug Munger.
So as numerous of our fellow applicants here, I've been on the board since inception. And I've Routt County Board of County Commissioners representative, and there are consequences to elections, and there was one 2 years ago, and there's one yesterday. So I'm going to resign from my position as the Routt County rep and allow them to appoint their own representative and get involved in water policy matters as they seem fit. I'm a rancher and, like I said, retired policymaker of the Board of County Commissioners. And, you know, I surely do not want to kick off our fine at-large candidates, but I wanted to make sure that we have a choice and the rest. I've been on the River District for 6 years now. I've been on the Upper Yampa-Water Conservancy District since 1994. Served numerous times, I think about 4 years as chair. And again, we own 1898 water rights, and I want to make sure that we take care of our pre-compact water rights and that we have a balanced river and the rest. So I'd be interested in serving, but I appreciate everybody else's interest in being on here too. I'm not gonna fade away. Haven't passed away yet. So anyhow, I appreciate your support if you feel like it. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. And Holly Kirkpatrick. Holly, are you here with us this evening? I thought I seen your name.
I sure am, Al. Thank you.
There you are.
Hi, everyone. My name is Holly Kirkpatrick. I am the Public Information and External Affairs Manager for the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District. I have served in that role since 2019 and have regularly attended the Basin Roundtable and PEPO committee meetings since I started that position in 2019 as well. I moved to the Yampa Valley in 2006. And the longer that I was here, the more interested I became in agriculture and water issues. And that actually drove me to go to graduate school. So I left in 2015 to go to the University of Wyoming, where I got my master's in agricultural economics and environment and natural resources. And prior to leaving there, I actually started to get interested in the roundtable in 2015 and joined a couple of meetings that you had there across the street from where those of you who are there in person are currently located. And I'm really passionate about agriculture and about water issues in our basin. And I have participated in the Yampa IWMP committee. Again, I participate regularly in the PEPO committee meetings. And I think that I have a lot to offer in terms of assisting with public education, participation, and outreach. And I appreciate all of you considering my application. I know you have a lot of candidates here to consider, and I'm happy to be one of them. And I would love to serve alongside you. So thank you all for your consideration.
No, thanks for joining us again, Holly. And I believe I have one more, a Drew Paternal. Did I say that right? Drew? And this was received today. I was just informed that Drew submitted his application or submitted their application.
Drew Peternell.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Don't think he's on.
Hi, Drew. Oh, he's not here.
No.
I thought I heard that was him speaking.
Sorry, I don't think he's on. I don't know if we want to bring the application real quick, just to.
You might as well bring his application. Drew works for TU, right?
And it was received when, today?
Afternoon.
Can someone tell us about Drew?
Yeah, sorry, let me find the application real quick.
Drew is with the Trout Unlimited. I believe he's the state representative. He was Brian Hodges' supervisor. Brian has subsequently been promoted to a higher position. Drew has attended some of our meetings. And he does live up in the basin.
Yep, so he is running for seat 16 environmental at large. Which river is he affiliated? He marked all three, Yampa, White, and Green. Do you own water rights? No. And somewhat attends meetings and resides in Rouch. And then he kind of has a lengthy little letter here. I don't know if you want me to just read it.
Yep. Yes, please.
Dear Roundtable members, please accept my application for the environmental representative seat on the Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtable. I apologize for the late submission. Based on an email I saw from the Roundtable chair to Roundtable members, I understood that you would be accepting applications up until November 9th. I apologize that I may not be able to attend the meeting this evening. I am in Denver. Sorry, we don't really need to read that part. With those caveats out of the way, I hope that this is a statement that will demonstrate my interest in and qualification for the environmental seat. I have 20 years of experience in the field of Colorado water. Since 2007, I have been the director of the Colorado Water Program for Trout Unlimited, and for 5 years prior to 2007, I served as staff attorney for TU's Colorado Water Program. TU is a national nonprofit fisheries conservation organization. TU's Colorado Water Program works to assure that rivers and streams in the state support healthy fish populations. Over my career at TU, I have gained significant experience with Colorado water law and policy. I have worked extensively on water rights matters. I've participated in numerous water infrastructure planning and permitting processes. I've been actively involved in Colorado River issues, including the recent demand management feasibility investigation, and I served on the Colorado Water Conservation Board's demand management investigation work group in 2019 and 2020. I have a deep background in anti-speculation law, and in 2020, Governor Polis appointed me to the citizen work group charged with examining anti-speculation issues under SB 20048. Prior to moving away from the Arkansas River Basin, I was a member of the Arkansas River Basin Roundtable. In addition to my expertise with Colorado water law and policy, I have experience with on-the-ground water projects. TU's Colorado Water Program is highly engaged in the development and implementation of cooperative projects that provide mutual benefit to water users and river health. Most of these projects involve partnership with the agricultural community, and they often involve upgrades to aging irrigation infrastructure or other modifications to irrigation systems. As the director of this work, I have gained in-depth understanding of the challenges facing farmers and ranchers and the opportunities for ag and conservation interests to work together for mutual benefit. I moved to Steamboat Springs for personal and family reasons in 2020. While the focus of my job with TU continues to be statewide, I've looked for opportunities to be engaged on water issues locally. I recently served on the Yampa River Integrated Water Management Plan Committee, and I have served on a work group investigating opportunities to make reservoir releases to simultaneously meet the needs of ag producers and environmental and recreational flows needs. I am anxious to find additional opportunities to be involved in local water matters. In summary, I believe I would bring a unique set of expertise and experience to the Yampa-White-Green Roundtable, and I would be honored to serve in this capacity.
Well read. Thank you. And I think Drew was the last one. Did I miss anybody?
So
No.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. So now I'm going to have to hand the keys over to you because you have something to share with the members on the voting here. So.
Okay, so for voting, like Alden was saying, I created a Google form. For those online, I will share the link in the chat and you can click on the link. Please include your name. That way we know who's voting. And bear in mind that we can only have 6 seats or 6 residents from from one county. So only 6, no more than 6 shall reside in any one county. So right now, Routt County has 6 seats filled, 5 are up for reelection. Moffett has 5 seats filled, 3 are up for reelection. Rio Blanco has 4 filled and 0 are up for reelection. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link for those online. For those here, I'm going to have Patrick put a QR code, whatever it's called, up on the screen. And you should be able to take your phone and your photos, or if you've got your computer, just click on it, whatever's easiest.
Can we just check the box?
Not bring any forms. Because, yeah, so let's try this, see how we go, and if we have some major technical difficulties, we can find paper. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
So the 7 members that are up for reelection, they don't vote? Is that right?
That's correct, if I remember right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think if you don't get to vote until you
We're technically off of the committee now.
Correct.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You can also share a computer. So if someone votes and then someone else can come in and vote on that same computer, you just fill in the name differently. So, and these documents are going to be held within the recorder and then they'll be gone. So that's who has them.
I'm also kind of wondering about the number of seats. I counted it up and there's like 8 people from Routt County and there's 6 seats available. I'm not sure I'm understanding the availability of it all.
Well, so you have to pick and choose then. If you think that only 5 of those or 6 of those individuals from Routt County are worthy, I guess, for lack of a better word, then you choose those 6, but you can't choose more than that.
And I might need a matrix to figure this out as a dumb engineer, but I think there's, let's see, so Ken's from Routt County, Frank's from Routt County. There's 2. Jackie's from Routt County. There's 3. Jeff is from Routt County. There's 4.
So
Brian. 6. But the other guy is.
Jackie's not right. So one thing to note is if a Routt seat is open, it does not have to be filled by a Routt person.
I kind of get that, but I'm wondering if we're gonna over allocate by voting this way.
Well, I don't know how else to do it, I guess.
So if you really think about it, Kent is running for Kent, that's Routt County, okay? Your environmental rep that's open, you have 2 Routt County people that was Routt County, so that's a wash.
So that's a wash.
Okay. Frank, that's a is so he's only doing it in whatever the domestic water provider, that was Routt County, that's a wash.
Okay.
You got Rich and Jeff Comstock and then Davis is the 3 from Moffett County. So you got Jeff Comstock, Jeff Myers, Jackie. Doug Davis.
Doug Davis, Jeff Comstock are your at-large representatives, and then your Jeff Myers and Jackie Brown. So you can vote for 2 at-large, assuming you vote for Kent, assuming you vote for Frank, is the environmental rep, either Madison or Drew. Okay, they're all staying, but that stays in there. So it's the 2 at-larges can be from Rock County. That's your metrics. Okay. 2 at-larges can be
So
from
all-
Rock.
So, yes, 2 could be from Rock County.
So
3 could be.
Alden, I've got a question because I don't, in trying to follow Pat there and looking at I pulled up the ballot deal. Because if I understood Doug right, he's resigning from his county appointed position, and the only place that he could run for is an at-large, and there's no place to write in a candidate. So how do we? I'm trying to understand which ones are contested and which ones aren't, and how do we write in a candidate?
Well, there shouldn't be any write-ins. I thought Doug was on there already. The only one that would
Well,
have been,
there's no room in the at-large there's no, because Doug is on the ballot, but I assume that was in the former route position. Or am I mistaken?
You're right. Doug is resigning from his, I'm not gonna put words in Doug can correct me. But Doug Munger is resigning from the Routt County Commissioner's appointment. And to be on the roundtable, he's trying to fill one of the at-large positions.
Yes, and that's my point. There's no place, he's not listed in the at-large slots.
Yes, he is.
yeah, he is.
Well, and maybe I didn't look at the link closely
Doug is
enough,
on,
so.
Doug is labeled there in seat 21 and 22 where he's in there, and 23 and 24 actually. So that's what I see.
Being that
I
you're
s-
gonna have representatives, shouldn't there only be able to be 5 other Routt County members at that point? Because you're gonna get a 6th. That gets appointed.
So you have, right now, we have 5 individuals in Routt County that are up for election, okay?
This isn't the 15 at-large positions, okay? So forget everything about the conservation districts, water conservancy district seats, or the Routt County Commissioner seats, or the municipal seats. That number doesn't count. Of the 15 at-large positions, you can only have 6 from one county. Does that make sense now?
Okay,
So
we're good.
I got it. Okay, I'm not allowed to vote, right?
Right. I can't vote for other people either, right? No votes at all.
no votes at all, because your seat, you're not really filled your seat. If you're up for election of those 6 seats, your term ended right at the beginning of this meeting.
Okay. I'd feel
By
better
bylaws.
I'd feel better if you stood up.
So you're really not in your seat. Maybe go outside in the hall. Sorry to confuse everything.
Yeah,
The computer to vote.
It's confusing and it's not an easy way to do this.
Actually, that app works pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it, but I looked at it. It's pretty nice.
It comes up in a nice format.
Yeah.
It should be easy enough to.
If
to get
more
in.
people from Route, voted in, then you go to like the first.
Yeah.
Couple
so
of-
even if-
We got some questions here on the inbox. There is a limit on the county, but it's only on the at-large, okay? I have a question there. So the limit is, I believe, 6 per county. That's what it states. So, and then Jackie is not running again. Jackie's seat is available. Jackie will continue on as the CWCB representative, but she is not running for her at-large seat that she was retaining. And now that I scroll down, I see Jackie responded, so.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so here's, makes a little bit.
And and we have another comment in here, just Basin Roundtable members that are not up for election tonight are to vote. Okay,
Say that one more time, please.
Basin Roundtable members that are not up for election tonight are eligible to vote.
So you can't vote, Doug.
That's right, Doug.
Got it.
Okay, neither can you, Jeff.
Oops.
No worries. So thank you. And I think that's no. That's why we have the names. That's why we have a recorder and names on there. So if we see something, we can kind of bump that out. So anyway. So is everybody comfortable?
Can Patrick please take down the QR code now, because so we can get back to our ballot?
Okay, can we start the voting, or is we got more questions and comments we can work on? We got to do here.
People have started, so.
Please
Okay.
clarify how many Routt County seats would be available at large. How many are currently serving that are not up for election, please?
One.
So theoretically, we could vote for 5 Routt County people on the ballot tonight at large.
Yes.
Thank you.
No. You can, on the at-large, you can vote for 2. Because Kent's running unopposed, Frank's running unopposed, and you're gonna choose for the environmental rep, somebody from Routt County, because both of those applicants. So of the 5, 3 of them are gonna take those seats. So you've got 2 at-large seats that you could vote for.
I don't think so, because Kent is representing recreation. He's not at large.
But it's a recreation at large.
Out of the 15 seats that are, all seats for election are at large.
Correct. Just some of the at-large seat have a specific designation for a specific interest attached to them.
Okay. So only 2 Routt County people
At large.
at large.
Sorry, I started.
We're blaming this on Will.
That's a question for the non-voted, for the representatives from the Conservancy districts. Do those appointments have to be members of that Conservancy district?
They're appointed by the board of those Conservancy districts. So I don't know if you need to be a member, but you got to be on the board or nominated by the board.
Could the board nominate anyone regardless of their residency?
Counties do that all the time. They nominate, cities do it too. They nominate people that aren't member of the council. Districts can do the same. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to read the rules. Doug Bunger might know if you're still on. The board votes and that could be anybody.
But what was the question again? I missed it. I'm sorry.
This is Jonathan Bauer. I was curious if appointments from, say, the Pothook Water Conservancy, would that person have to be a member or resident within the bounds of that Conservancy district? Or would they be able to appoint someone free will of choice on that?
So that, I believe, was all up to them and their district and their choice, and not necessarily it's up to that district. I mean, the River District, their appointment is not a resident of Routt County or Moffat County or any of our counties. So has been, could be, would be, should be, but I don't know. So whatever. So no.
Thank you.
It's probably in the bylaws.
I looked when they were putting all this out, and couldn't, all it said was just a representative. So I just thought if someone maybe had been up to roundtable before and another time.
Okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to vote? If you have not, please say something and then we'll give you a few more minutes. Otherwise, we'll allow Megan and Patrick to do what they need to do. And Caitlin. Last call.
More coming in.
Alden, how do you vote? I didn't see how to vote.
Oh, you got to go to your message box, go to the chat box. And Megan sent a link in the chat box.
Okay,
And click on that link and it'll take you to a Google document form, a ballot.
gotcha. All right, I'm voting here.
Okay. Thanks for speaking up. There, Megan posted it again. Let me know when you're finalized and then Megan can. We could probably move on to the grant committee if we need to and allow Steve to go ahead and then pause in between there to let Megan kind of give us an update. So if Megan, if you're okay with that, I'm just going to move on and allow Steve to give his grant committee update, and then we'll move into some of the grant committee grants that are for action tonight. But before we do action, we will pause to get those that were elected back in on the voting here for our roundtable. So.
Okay. Hey, Patrick, can you put my presentation up?
Yep.
Okay. I gotta step out for a minute, guys.
You can go on to the next slide. So tonight I have a number of things to cover, including the status of the grant funding for our 2023 grant cycle that we're currently in. I want to cover some additional funding from the CWCB that Jeff talked about earlier. I think we should think about allocating some additional grant funding, but I will skip over that if we haven't got the vote in by then. And we'll start with the White River Integrated Water Initiative. Then they've got a grant request for us. Yampa-Tika's got an educational grant request. The Yampa River Dashboard, sponsored by Upper Yampa, has got a grant request. And then there's 2 letters of support, one for the Bear River Park Design and Engineering Trailer Boat Ramp, and a letter of support for the Smart Irrigation Central Control System. It's a little bit different than on your agenda, as Julie Baxter's going to cover both of those letters of support and not Ginger Scott. Ginger was who covered them in the grant committee, but Julie's going to cover those tonight. So go ahead, Patrick. Whoa. Well, no. It's just a little small. Oh, there you go. So we originally had $972,990 in our basin account to start our fiscal year. We allocated $201,940 at our May meeting. And CWCB approved both the Stillwater Reservoir Grant and the Drescher Dam Rehabilitation Phase 2 in September. Can you slide that up just a little bit without changing? Just a little bit more, Patrick. That's good. Okay. So tonight you're going to hear, that leaves in our account, that that leaves in our spending, which we said the maximum amount that was approved to spend in July was $623,000. So we spent 202,000, give or take, in May. We're going to spend, if we vote for all three grants tonight, then we would spend $343,000, and that would leave us about 77,000. Or can you go down just a little bit, Patrick? There you go, $77,000 in remaining spending for the year. So all of these grants can be approved and fit into our grant budget. The Yampa-Tika grant has a match percent of 40%. The Yampa Dashboard project has a match of 28%, and the White River information has a match of 38.4%. We require as a grant, as a Yampa-White-Green Roundtable, a 25% match. So the highest rated grant was the White River through our matrix scoring. They scored 43.2 out of 60. The Yampa Dashboard project was second. They scored at 38.3 out of 60. And the Yampa-Tika Educational Grant scored at 36.3 out of 60. Can you hit my next slide, Patrick? Okay, so Jeff Rodriguez talked a little bit about the additional funds. So they, by my calculation, and I might be off $1 or $2, they added basically nearly $229,000 on October 1st to our basin account. So after the grants that were approved in May and were approved by the CWCB in September, the 202,000 were taken out. They filled our grant pool up to $1 million. And instead of having a account balance of $427,000, we should have a grant balance of $656,000. So, and that's if we approve all of the grants that are on the table tonight. So, without the funding, we were going to be about $22,000 over our minimum, or $23,000, or we had about $77,000 left to spend because we had a $100,000 leeway in that spending. So, we need to actually spend another $206,000 just to get down to the $450,000 limit. So I was going to propose to raise our limit to $850,000, but I'm going to skip by that, Alden, and we're going to go on to the White River grant because we don't have our new members on board yet. So go ahead, Patrick. Keep going. So the White River Integrated Water Initiative Phase 3 will be presented by Kelly Hendrickson. Go ahead, Patrick. Oh, there you go. Can you maybe make it a little? Maybe it's because we got this side. Yeah, can we take that side out and?
You can drag it to the right quite a bit.
Yeah, just go up to view options and at the top. No, way at the top of the screen by the green box. Oh, way at the top. Go all the way to the top. See where it says view
No,
options?
You're seeing a different screen. You're seeing the correct screen. This screen is.
And yeah, and then click the side by side. There you go.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah. Oh,
Minimize it.
yeah, but you can, yeah, so you can minimize that. There you go.
We're adjusting what people see here in the room, not what people are seeing
On their computers.
on their computers.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Kelly, take it away.
Okay, we all have a different view, don't we? Okay, well, thank you. I'm Callie Hendrickson, the Executive Director for the White River and the Douglas Creek Conservation Districts. So I've been reporting to you pretty much each one of the meetings, the progress we've made on the phase 2. And that won't be wrapped up completely until probably at least spring, but this is our scope of work for the phase, I'm sorry, I think I said it's phase 3. We're wrapping up phase 2 next spring. This is phase 3, which would begin next fall. So we're just trying to stay ahead here. Long story short, the top priorities that have come out of our process is the water supply study, which is basically a return flow study out of the middle reach of the river, which those of you that are familiar with the area, 2 big irrigation areas that are just above Meeker, as well as the mesa that's to the south of the river. And then down below Meeker is another big irrigated area. So those are the areas that we are focused on. We're planning to partner with Dr. Bailey at CSU, who will develop a return flow model for us specific for the area. The initiative will collect the data for that development and ground truthing of the model. So what we're applying for with this grant is the collection of that data. Dr. Bailey is applying for a grant through the Water Center that he is confident in to actually pay for his portion of it. So we are not having to pay the CSU high administration fee, let's put it that way. And I'll get more into that here in just a minute, but the next priority is, and I wouldn't say they're any particular order, but the other focus was on the upland vegetation treatments. So the Conservation District has what we call coordinated resource management plans that we're working with permittees and the BLM and down in the lower country, really working on some vegetation treatments there. But the group is very focused on doing, being sure that we're just focusing on upland vegetation, whether it's clear up in the forest or if it's down in the BLM country, because we recognize how that impacts the water quality and quantity. Another one is the information and education. And just for a quick announcement, our first CNCC class will be on the 15th. I think I sent Patrick a notice of that today. So we've gotten started with that class. We're also working on a water measurement device demonstration. And then last but not least being the diversion structure and riparian health assessments, which we did do in the last one as well, but we have actually had requests from landowners to do more of those. So we will continue with those. So next slide, please. So there we go. So here is more specifically what the WSRF grant funds would be doing. So we will be specifically monitoring roughly 10, as long as we get all of our grant requests, we would plan to monitor 10 wells and install loggers in those, and then have them being monitored. Now, depending on what kind of monitors we put in them as to how labor intensive it will be for checking on them and how frequent we'll need to do that. And again, the devil is always in the details. So that is yet to be worked out. Tributaries and diversion measurements. So we will be using the stream gauges above this reach and below the reach that's in the river. So the one that's above it is a state measuring, and then the one down below is USGS. We are hoping to work and partner with Division of Water Resources to potentially increase the number of times that they are collecting the data in theirs. We're going to need that information. So we're really hoping to partner with them and increase that amount. But then we will need to verify how much is coming in through the tributaries and how much is being diverted at what times, so that we have all of our timing right. So we will be working closely with 42 ditches there, ditch owners, water right holders, to be sure that we're getting accurate water measurements so that we've got, so we have good information for this process. So, and the goal there is basically to measure the return flows, whether it be ground and tailwater. To get all this done, we will need to continue with our planning and coordination. So that will continue not only with our PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee, to do the individual or all the big meetings, the full meetings, I guess I would say, of the PAC. But you see that we've got the 4 subcommittees that we will be working with too. So for instance, this water supply study work group has met many more times than just the PAC itself. And Liz has been very instrumental in helping to make that work. And she would be managing that committee, helping with all the data collection and the communications with that, with the CSU professors. So there is a lot of work just in that one. And then there would be the forestry group. Our education group is doing pretty good on their own, but any assistance they would need, we would help them with that as well. And then facilitation of and coordinating the riparian health and diversion structure assessment. Next slide. This is the budget. I think we can make it fairly simple in that for all of the water supply study, we are in the process, and the application is due on next Tuesday, I believe it is, the 15th, through the Colorado River District would be the other portion of the water supply study. But requesting from the WSRF funds, $51,000 for the actual data collection itself from the WSRF. The diversion structure and riparian assessments is the $16,000. And again, that's primarily the coordination and then all of the report writing, because we have a team of volunteers that are doing a lot of the work. So that's what you see under the matching funds there, is primarily in kind. The coordination facilitation, the River District will apply for about $12,000 of that from them, but $48,000 from this grant. We would like to offer the volunteers. We have got some fantastic volunteers, our landowners that have been not just coming to the PAC meetings, but then, as I was mentioning, the volunteers that are going out and doing the assessments. They did over 40 assessments last year, and we would certainly like to help them with their mileage reimbursement, and that's all that this would be. And then, of course, the management and the administration of the full process. So that is the total of our request, $149,410. That's all I have. I kept it to three slides, Steve. I don't know if I kept it to 15 minutes, but I kept it to 3 slides.
So I do want to mention that as part of the materials that's on the website under the grants folder, there is a November 9th, 2022 grant summaries where I've summarized each of the 3 prospective grants. So if you need more information on the grant, you can certainly read through those while the grants are being presented. Are you guys ready or?
We gotta create another form. This was a second.
We gotta do some.
Okay.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure. Yes.
The reimbursement for landowners, that, do I understand that would only start after you've received the grant, Kelly? I'm worried about CWCB or the grant process not allowing a back payment.
Correct. No, it would be only after we got the grant approved and moving forward. Yes.
Are there any other questions for Callie on this grant? So what do you think, Alden? Do you want to move ahead with the second?
Alden, we've got some elections discussion to do, so.
Oh, you want to do that right now?
It would be great if we could.
Okay. Are you with that, Alden?
I couldn't, Patrick was kind of breaking up. I couldn't hear him very well in the background. What?
Discussion to do. So, we do not have an environmental seat filled yet. We're gonna have a runoff still, okay, against the 2 candidates, because somehow we got 50% on those. So, don't have that seat filled yet, but we do have Kent as our recreational seat. We have Frank Alphone as our municipal water provider. We got Rich for our industrial at-large seat. We got Jeff Comstock for Moffett County and Doug Davis for Moffett County. Okay. We're gonna have to run off for all the Routt counties for the last 2 seats. All right. Just because.
So do I take it that Megan, you're developing another dock here or what?
Yes, we are developing another job, but I'd like to get those seats filled so that hopefully we won't have a 50-50 split. That's already an environmentalist rec position. And then we also can vote for them the 2 at-large seats yet.
The 2 Routt County.
Routt County at-large seats. Does that sound approving? So in the bylaws, is we can get down to 2 people, another set of elections. So this assumes that we're still trying to get down to the 2 people for another set of elections where we will take the top 2 out of for the last.
Okay. And we've had runoffs happen in the past, so.
And like I said, environmental rec was.
Frank has a question.
Just, I assume that now that those ones that were elected are back on the board, we can vote in the runoff, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I would say the chair should say yes.
I do concur, so.
So Alden, what would you like to do? We're at a point where we need to vote on this, or we can go to the Yampa dashboard.
Meg, I don't know how far Megan's along. If she's ready, give me a thumbs up and we'll go do voting. But if she needs more time, then let's give her time and let's keep going. I don't want to rush her for excellence. So.
She said she needs a couple of minutes. So
then let's move forward, Steve.
Okay, so we're gonna
and we'll come back and do individual actions on the grants then. So.
Yep, no problem. So actually I misspoke. So the Yampa-Tika pre-K to 12 educational grant is the next one that we're going to talk about, and it's presentation by Kristen Jesperson and Cheryl Horton. So Kristen, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you everyone for inviting me to present today on our proposal. I am the executive director for Yampa-Tika. Our mission is to inspire environmental stewardship through education. And we have been a grant recipient of the Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtables for the past about 2.5 years. So the proposal I am sharing with you today builds on the work that we've been doing in that time to help advance the goals of the PEPO committee and the Basin Roundtable to do thoughtful and intentional outreach and education as it relates to water resource awareness and management. So we are helping both the Basin Roundtable and the PEPO committee achieve those Colorado Water Plan goals, as well as the Basin Implementation Plan goals. We do this by designing, implementing, and growing water education for pre-K through 12 programs throughout Routt, Moffat, and Rio Blanco counties. And in the last year of programming, the last full school year, we were able to deliver that programming to 1,761 students in that region. So I think that amounts to about 25% of students. And that program, the demand for that programming continues to grow. So we are expecting, as we complete the current school year, we'll have even more students that we see and reach, and that we are going to have more and more demand and opportunity to deliver this programming to middle school and high school students in that region. So as I said, we're working to build on what we've been doing up to this point, and the scope of work that you have before you shows a similar scope of work in the sense that we will continue to update the curriculum and work with teachers to design field trips and place-based education that meets the specific needs of their classes. We will continue to travel throughout the 3-county region to deliver in-school and out-of-school programming to ensure that it is in person as much as possible, virtual when necessary, and that we're supporting the teachers in their curriculum goals. And I will say that the programming that we deliver is interactive. It's intended to be engaging and age appropriate. It's science-based. We work to provide a balanced perspective on whatever the key issues are. It's place-based, and most typically it's fun for the students that are learning about this. Where this grant varies somewhat from the grant that we have in place currently is that we want to expand the scope of what we're doing to engage the communities that students live in, so that we can have a more so we can have a broader impact, and we can have more sort of reinforcement in some of the information and messaging that students are receiving in the classroom setting. We intend to do that in a number of different ways, and that's all shared in the areas for growth column here. First and foremost, we want to work to more intentionally engage middle school and high school students to provide them with a variety of different learning opportunities as it relates to water education. Some examples include the Yampa Valley Science School, which is a week-long school for 6th graders, or week-long module for 6th graders to learn about water education and various other environmental education topics. We want to work to implement a River Watch program in a number of different settings, which includes a student-based citizen science water quality monitoring program. And we hope to continue to partner with the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District to host the Water Festival for 5th graders throughout the region, which for which this was the first year that we were able to do that. We also want to, as we're continuing to work on curriculum and updating it and working with teachers, to integrate water education into other modules that we are sharing, to include life science and earth science and weather. And we also want to work to translate more of our materials into Spanish so we can reach a broader audience and engage Spanish-speaking students and community members. We also intend to continue to focus on building out the natural resource career opportunities that are available through our lessons. So connecting students with the opportunities to pursue careers in water resource management, and intending to work with more out of school opportunities outside of Steamboat. We have a focus on delivering out of school programming with, say, the Boys and Girls Club or the city's after school action programming in Steamboat, but we'd like to build that in some of the other communities where we're delivering education in Moffat County and Rio Blanco County. Also, we feel it's important that the teachers in these communities have the resources they need to be able to build on water education. So we aim to provide them with training and adequate toolkits to be able to do that on their own as they need. And we intend to speak to the various water education lessons at the community events that we participate in, specifically the Yampa River Water Fest, the Winter Expo, the Craig River Fest, etc. And we also look to integrate more water lessons into our various communications, both through the schools and through Yampa-Tika's communications in the community more broadly. Next slide, please.
One more up, I think.
It's yeah, it's down. Yes. So I spoke a little bit to our approach, but as I said, we really emphasize the place in which the students are learning. We try to do as many field trips as we can to get those students to the locations that are being investigated and studied. We provide classroom resources in the form of toolkits and lending libraries so that teachers have, again, those resources that they need to be able to impart these lessons. And we recruit experts to speak to classes, especially about the career opportunities. On the right, you'll see the various topics that we cover through our water education. Those run the gamut from watershed function to the water cycle to snow surveying to the various uses of water in a given community, especially in Northwest Colorado, Western water rights, and so forth. So as I said before, we aim to provide balanced education about the various issues relating to water, and also science-based information about how these cycles function. Next slide, please. This is our budget for this proposal. It is a 2-year grant, and we are requesting $99,552 from the Colorado Water Conservation Board Basin Roundtable and the Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtable. This will largely go to fund our water education coordinator position. She's a full-time position, and she has been integral to allowing us to fulfill the scope of work. The matching funds mentioned here will provide all of the other important reinforcements that we need in terms of staffing, supplies, travel, contracted services for the evaluation of this programming, which we do annually, and various professional development opportunities that staff might need to be on top of the water education that we do provide. So with that said, our matching funds are anticipated to be provided by the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District, the Steamboat Springs Education Fund, a private foundation called the Iron Horse Family Foundation, AmeriCorps, and the City of Steamboat Springs, as well as in kind through Yampa-Tika.
Okay, does anybody? Oh,
go ahead. Yeah. That's all I have. I want to make sure and give you an opportunity to ask questions, and just say that we have received really good feedback from students and teachers and community members about this programming. And we hope to be able to continue to partner with the Basin Roundtable to fulfill this function and keep our youth and communities aware of the key issues relating to water.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Kristen?
Yeah, this is T. Wright. Kristen, did I hear you correctly to say that you had interacted with 1,000 students?
Last school year, the 21-22 school year, we delivered water education programming to 1,761 distinct students.
And what was the geographic distribution of those students?
Well, so that was throughout Routt, Moffat, and Rio Blanco counties. I would have to pull up the numbers as they relate to the different districts. I don't have that in front of me at the moment, but that hit about at least 6 different school districts. I do have a slide that speaks to those percentages, but even in this school year, we are seeing more and more demand from the school districts in Moffat County and Rio Blanco County specifically. So as we're building those relationships in those communities and growing our credibility, we're seeing this year increased interest as compared to last year.
You're right. I think they were in
Thank you.
every, I think they were in every elementary, middle school, high school, in every school district.
Yes, so I'm the
so-
school programs manager for Yampa-Tika, so I have a little bit more detailed knowledge. Last year was our very first year that we were in all of the school districts in person because COVID actually allowed us to get back into the schools. There are 6 school districts and we were in every single one of them. And it's already become even larger. We've seen over 900 distinct students just this school year so far. And it's only been, what, 2 months, 3 months since the school year started. And we're seeing students that we've never seen before. And we fully expect to see the students we saw last year as well. So, so far, 25% of the student population last year, but I fully expect that to be even higher this year because people know more about us now.
Super. When you can provide that geographic distribution, I would appreciate seeing that. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I have a question. Okay, Will. What do we know about the Iron Horse Family Foundation? What can you tell us about them as a donor?
They are a family foundation. They are based out of Routt County, and they have been supporting our environmental education programming through a 3-year grant. And I actually have a meeting with them tomorrow to learn a little bit more about them. I've been in this role for the past 4 months, so I am learning as I go on a lot of this, but they have been a key supporter of our environmental education programming for the past 3 years.
Do they have a set philosophy on environmental topics, or are they pretty much just kind of middle of the road? Do we know?
I can't speak to that at this point in time. My understanding is that they support environmental education more broadly, and they like the work that Yampa-Tika is doing.
Okay, thank you. You have that question? Yeah, Jonathan.
Hey, Kristen, this is Jonathan Bauer. Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, of course.
I was curious, you mentioned that this funding was to support the staff for this position, is that right?
Yes, so the programming is delivered by our staff, and mostly the majority of the Colorado Water Conservation Board and Basin Roundtable funding will go to support our water education coordinator and her time on this.
So do you have a plan, if you were to be successful here, is there a plan to get sustainable, consistent funding for that position to ensure that this program will be able to carry on?
Yes, we are continuing to work on that and build our relationships with other foundations and funding streams. And as the program grows legs and gains credibility, I could see pursuing state funding and or working with the Colorado River District and other foundations that have an interest in providing this type of education in the region. So that's an ongoing effort and is something that we'll be working on in the course of this grant period.
Thanks. Okay, do you guys have your form ready?
Yes.
Alden, you want to get back to the new form and
Okay, we're gonna take a pause. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So let's take a pause then, and we're gonna stop there with Yampa-Tika. Let me make a note there. And then we're gonna do our runoff election. So I would imagine Megan will be sending a link out and we'll follow the, is there any additional rules? I mean, we're looking at just one contested seat. Is that it? Or I thought there was one more. I'm sorry.
So we're looking at 3 seats that you're trying to fill, okay? We're still filling the environmental seat between Drew and Madison and Drew, okay? And then we have that large seats. We're gonna pick your top 2 Routt County representatives for that.
So it's seat 23 and 24.
That makes sense?
so 3 positions.
3 positions.
Okay,
And so then those, I was half listening when Patrick was talking earlier, everybody else should, you mentioned who got what, so you guys can vote now.
Yeah.
So the people that can vote, additionally to the roundtable members that were voted in the first election, we got Kent Van Trees for the rec seat, Frank Alphone for the domestic water provider, Rich Thomas for the industrial, Jeff Comstock and Doug Davis.
okay. Thank you. That's what I thought. So,
All right, so I just shared a link in the chat. I will email it as well. Do you want to add that new QR code? So I added it to the membership again. It should. I think it's just called. It's fine.
cool. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. I didn't notice you had the scan thing on their screen.
There, I got it. Okay, zoom out to get it.
Oh, really?
Is there now a number? Is there now an odd number? Or there's just a number of odds?
We got an odd number.
This is Jenny. Were we supposed to get an email like we did last time? Because after I voted, I did not get one on this round.
I believe it's in the chat box, Jenny.
No, I got the link, but last time I also got a notification on my phone via email that I had voted to make sure I voted the way I was supposed, I had voted on there. Is that going to happen on this one, or is it, we don't get those back, right?
Add that setting, sorry.
No, okay.
It's easy enough.
If you want, I can message what you voted to double check if that's what you're after.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just didn't want to be sitting here looking for it if I didn't need to, so I'm good.
Actually, I did receive one.
You did on
Oh.
this last one?
It said on the runoff.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I got the form, but I didn't get a notice on my email.
Oh, maybe that's what I got.
Yeah, yeah.
That worked out so quick. It was all Patrick.
Well, I love it when I'm talking and thinking I'm visiting with the round table and I find out that I'm on mute and I don't have the camera on. So, okay. We'll let Holly, we'll let Megan kind of sort this thing out here.
Okay.
And so let's just keep moving forward, please. So let's pick up, is it the Yampa dashboard, item number 3, A3?
Can I ask a clarifying question on the last grant? Have we funded staff before as a roundtable, or my brain only remembers projects?
Yeah, so in the original Yampa-Tika grant request that we funded in like 2019 or early 2020, we did.
We did staff. That's the only other place we've done it.
Community Ag Alliance.
Yeah. For that.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, the Yampa-Tika is asking for not really much different than what they had in their first original grant, other than they're trying to put more programs together and build the programs. Now they're getting out and teaching the programs.
Okay, thank you.
Are we getting to the, oh, there we go. Keep going. Okay, oh, can we go back? Okay, so the Yampa dashboard project is our third grant. It should be presented by Emily Lowell and Allison Gould. Emily, are you on?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Great, thanks.
Excuse me, Steve. This is Ken Brenner, and I wanted everybody to know that the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District is one of the proponents of this grant application, and my Doug Munger and myself are board members, and we will not be voting on this item.
Please make note of that within the minutes about that. Thank you for letting us know that, Ken.
Yeah, so I just full disclosure, when both Ken and Doug are members of the grant committee, and when this project came up at the grant committee meeting in October, they both recused themselves. And Chris Collins is a member of the IWI, the White River Committee. He recused himself for the White River one as well. And that shows in my meeting minutes that are on the grant drive. So, all right, Emily.
All right, thank you. I'm Emily Lowell. I'm the district engineer with the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District. And we are one of the lead partners of this Yampa River Dashboard project. There's two other lead partners here, Allison Gould with the Colorado Water Trust and Lindsay Marlowe with Friends of the Yampa. And I believe that they are both online as well. But I'll run through the presentation, and then if they have anything to add, I'll let them do that at the end. So if you'd go to the next slide, please. So thanks for letting us come and present about this project tonight. We're excited about this. The Yampa River Dashboard is an online data infrastructure that provides water rights users, owners, and the general public a centralized interactive means of monitoring, measuring, analyzing, and extracting relevant information from different data sets in key areas while displaying information in an interactive, intuitive, and visual way. So, basically that means that this is going to be a centralized online cloud-based data platform, bringing many different data sets that are already available to the public into one location, as well as some additional data that's maybe not available to the public right now, into kind of one location, and make that information more digestible for an average user. So some of the data sets that we're looking at, including in this dashboard, will include stream flow data, temperature data, soil moisture, precipitation, water quality, and other data that is all kind of relevant to water. The dashboard is planned to be launched in a phased approach, and various different users can have entity-specific access for the data. And the intent of being able to do that is that various different users might have specific data sets that they want to see in a platform like this, but don't necessarily want to share all of the information to the public, but may want to share some of that with the public. So these different user logins will allow people to be able to toggle on and off the data sets that would be available to the public, and then data sets that would be specific to the users of just that organization. But like I said, much of the information that will be put through here will be available for the public, and we think it will be a great way to just bring all of this information to one centralized platform and make it really user-friendly and more accessible. Next slide, please. So the timeline of the project, the first part of the project is really creating this basic platform, and Upper Yampa and a couple of additional partners are interested in moving this project forward. This was a recommendation that came out of the Integrated Water Management Plan, but this is a project that Upper Yampa would like to get going for ourselves anyways. We have, specific operational components of what our organization does that a platform like this is useful for. So Upper Yampa is actually already getting into starting this basic platform, and that's for our own internal use. And like I was talking about before, that we would have specific logins for various different users. Upper Yampa will have that, and we have some of the more like technical information for our reservoirs that will be pulled into that platform and will be available just for our operations. And then other information that's more public data that we want to share will be available on the public platform. So the first part of it is to create this basic platform. We're working with a consultant, Leonard Rice out of Glenwood Springs, to build the platform, and that part of the project is, like I said, already underway. The next phase of the project would be to integrate the additional data sources. With this first build or the initial build of the platform, we've already included, the SWE data, USGS data, information from DWR, including water quality data, and precipitation data using COCO RAWs and a few others. And then the operational data for Upper Yampa's specific facilities. The next phase of the project, integrating these additional data sources, would bring in more data that's available to the public, temperature data. We've got the City of Steamboat Springs is another partner that's interested in this project, and they have an interest in the temperature component. So we'd be bringing that information in, historical call records, recreational information. There's a lot of other data sets that would be integrated in the next phase of this project. And then this Q2 2023, the next phase would be adding embedded analytic functions and creating visualizations. And that basically would be, creating map functionality and different tools in this toolbox of analytical functions that would be able to help a user pick specific things that they want to see and map them or graph them so that they can help to understand kind of what that information means better. And then the next phase would be the initial beta version rollout, which would go through testing and fixing issues. As any process like this goes, it takes a couple of people to try things and find what works and what doesn't work, and then work through that and fix up those issues as they come up. And then the goal would be in Q4 that we would do a final version rollout, which would include a presentation or several presentations to the general public and getting that final dashboard out to the public through various different sources. And one thing that I didn't mention that we want to do as part of the second phase of the project where we integrate these additional data sources is to hire a facilitator to help prioritize what we want, kind of what the goals and what we want to get out of the dashboard. We have talked with a number of different people and different entities that are interested in the project. We have a number of already confirmed partners. Like I said, the City of Steamboat Springs, Colorado River District, the Upper Colorado Endangered Fish Recovery Program, Community Ag Alliance, Doug Monger and the Monger Cattle Company, and Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. And then we've talked with a number of other prospective partners who we haven't included kind of as in this list of people at this point, but have shown a lot of interest in this project. And what we'd like to do with this facilitator is to have them come in and bring all of these different entities and different parties together to try and flesh out what everybody's kind of top priorities are, and then filter down into maybe the next phases of the project. And the goal of this dashboard would be that it would kind of be a living and ever evolving dashboard that could continue to be built upon as new data sets become available or new tools want to be built, that we could continue to refine it and add things to it. Next slide, please. So the budget, these are the different phases or tasks that I just went through. Upper Yampa and the City of Steamboat Springs have already committed matching funds of $37,000, and we're asking today for $95,000 of WSRF funds. And in addition to the matching funds that are shown here, there will be in-kind match from Upper Yampa for committed time, as well as from the Colorado Water Trust and Friends of the Yampa. Next slide, please. And that's it for the presentation. I did want to just see Allison or Lindsay if you guys wanted to add anything else that I may have missed or.
No, I think you did a great job, Emily.
Yeah, Emily, thank you so much. And thank you very much to the Basin Roundtable for letting us present this. The only thing that I guess I would add is this dashboard would help as kind of a predicate to addressing some of the other IWMP goals, including the measurement, reservoir release coordination, temperature, and it would help us identify kind of where those data gaps are and maybe address those goals more quickly in a more efficient manner. So we think it would be a really good place to start in terms of implementing the IWMP. Thank you.
And I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
I got Bill Badaraka here. Sorry, Bill.
I'm just curious on if you could expand on what won't be shared with the public and why.
Yeah, so, as an example for the Upper Yampa Water Conservancy District, we have a lot of instrumentation in our dams that really just tell us about the health of our facilities, and that information is, solely for Upper Yampa to maintain and make use of. And so that information, that's information that only Upper Yampa operations staff would need to know. But for, the operational component of Upper Yampa, it would be helpful for all of us to be able to see that information graphically in some of these tools that that Leonard Rice can do as part of a dashboard. So we want to bring that data into a program like this so that we can utilize it more efficiently. But that's not really information that's available to be shared with the public.
Who pays to get that information?
So Upper Yampa would pay for that portion of what we're putting into this dashboard. And when we talk about all these different partners, if somebody wanted, if there was another organization that wanted to add data to the dashboard that would not be shared with the public, we would, I think, expect that they would pay a portion of that wouldn't be considered as part of the grant funding, that entity would bring matching or additional funds to the project.
But is that part of the matching funds that you're including now in getting that data?
No, Upper Yampa, the majority of what's being done right now is bringing in kind of the base framework that's needed. So that's, snow water equivalent data, soil moisture data, USGS data, DWR data, water quality data, all of that data transmission to this platform and kind of the initial framework of building this whole platform. That's the majority of the cost of what's going into the matching funds. And then Upper Yampa has pitched in kind of separate funding for these additional components that we want just for our operations.
Just a follow-up, is there any other examples of data that wouldn't be shared with the public?
I think there would be, one example of an entity that we've talked to that hasn't fully committed, but showed a lot of interest in this project is the city of Craig. And we had talked with one of their operations folks, and I don't know specifically what all information they would want to bring in, but I know they have a lot of data that they would do, that they submit for regulatory purposes. And I don't know that all of that information is information that they would want to share with the public. So I would imagine that there would be, for them, that there would be a component of that they wouldn't want to share with the public, but then some of their information that they would.
Hello?
Okay, Steve, we still have a couple more items to go. So if we could kind of keep moving forward.
Okay, just gonna.
Alden, this is T, right?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to follow up with Bill's question. Emily, to clarify then, what this request, what these public funds would be funding would be for public utilization, public information. It would not be funding anything that would be kept private.
Yes, and we can make sure that as we go along in this process, if there is an entity that only wants data for their own use, that would be separately funded through that entity.
Good, thank you. As long as that's clarified, thank you.
Yep, thanks for the clarification.
Are you guys done with the voting, or do you want to? So Alden, they are done. You want to go back to the voting and finalize that before we go to the letter?
Yes, please. Yeah, and I got Megan's email. So these guys have done great tonight. So Megan, what do you have for us?
Okay, seat 16, environmental, I believe, is Madison. Welcome. And then seats 23 and 24 at large, Doug Munger and Jeff Myers.
Okay. Welcome aboard. We got a couple of new members on here, or a new member in there. So
move on up, Madison. Now we got to hear you.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, Madison was sitting at the back of the room. We told her, move on up. Now we want to hear you.
Yeah. Don't be shy. Nobody else is. So,
yeah.
Well, okay. I always appreciate when we have, it's hard because not everybody gets voted in. But I'm always encouraged when I see there's more interest than what there is for seats available. So, and what you do as a group of roundtable folks, you don't get enough recognition for. So, and I know I've worked with several of you over the years, and I'm glad to see a continued interest in participating in this group. So it's not always easy. It's not glamorous. You don't get a big pat on the back, but you stay involved in the community on something very precious to us all. So.
Well, it's nice that everybody appointed wasn't an old white man.
So Alden, you want to go through that letters of support and then go back and do all the voting? Is that what you're
Yes.
thinking?
Yep. Let's keep going, Steve. Thank you.
Okay, can you go down to, so Julie Baxter is gonna do the Bear River Park Design and Engineering Trailer Boat Ramp Letter of Support. She'll also do the Water Smart letter of support as well. So I guess once we're done with the first one, we can vote for it and then do the second letter, and then we can go back and vote on the grants. Julie, are you still on?
I am, yes. Great, so these are both our Parks and Recreation Department projects. There is a long Parks and Recreation Commission meeting going on tonight. So I am covering these items for those staff members here tonight. I will recuse myself from the voting, and hopefully I can answer your questions. But so the first request is for a letter of support, and you can go to the next slide. From the roundtable to the CWCB for a water plant grant application for the City of Steamboat Springs for design and engineering for a trailered boat access for the public at Bear River Park. It's a park on our west side, and this project is identified in the Bear River Master Plan, as well as our Parks, Recreation, Open Space Trails, and River Master Plan, which was adopted in 2019. So there's not designated trailer boat access on the Yampa in or near Steamboat Springs, but we have many users and boaters. And so they're mainly using undesignated areas and kind of rudimentary access areas. And so we have a lot of safety concerns. There's damage to the riverbanks and riparian areas. And so the benefits of this project would be increasing the number of users, as we're seeing an increased number of users and shorter boating seasons, we are seeing this increased pressure on the river and on our infrastructure. And so this would help to concentrate users, minimize impacts to the river, to the banks and riparian areas, create a safer environment for users, and improve access for all, free, open to for the public. And it's also an opportunity to provide education about river etiquette, responsible boating, as well as other environmental education through the park and within the park programming. And so the timeline for this, we're asking for $80,000 for the Colorado Water Plan grant. It is for the boat access component specifically. It's part of a larger design drawings for park improvements with an estimated cost of $400,000. So the city will be responsible for that other $320,000 for the complete drawings. The design would be complete in 2023. We have to complete that first before we have to build a secondary access road that's required for the park before these additional improvements are made. That's about a $2.3 million project. And so we would be doing that in 2024 and then making the actual improvements, including the trailer boat access in 2025. So I think that those are unless you guys have questions, those are my main points.
Yeah, so let me just add, originally the Bear River Park trailer boat access came to us as a WSRF grant request, and we worked with Ginger Scott and the folks at CWCB, and it seemed to fit their water plant grant a little bit better. So they actually pulled the project back and applied to CWCB with Chris Sturm. So we've seen this, we've seen the whole grant proposal because it was originally submitted to us. There is a letter of support in the grants folder of tonight's meeting materials. The grant committee worked with Ginger to get that letter of support
in shape for Alden to sign or to take a look at and do what he wants. So can you go to the next slide, Patrick? So the grant committee supported the recommendation of this letter being sent to the full BRT, and we approved we approved of the project. So I would take Alden would take a motion and a second for basically approving this letter of support be written and submitted involving $80,000 in CWCB water plant funding.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And I want to make sure everybody, Kent sent a note out today too. I don't know if you've all seen it. But Kent expressed his support for this project as well. And I know he can't be here tonight, but I wanted to make sure on his behalf that we made sure that we shared that his support is extended and for this project. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve this letter of support for the Bear River Park design and engineering. That the city
Brenner moves to recommend approval of the letter of support to be written and submitted for the Bear River Park design and engineering for a trailered boat ramp involving $80,000 of Colorado Water Conservation Board water plan funding.
Second.
Was that Jeff, you?
This is Jeff.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yep. So we got any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of support of this, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Pass. Congratulations. We'll get that to you here shortly. So
Thank you very much.
you're
All
welcome.
right, so we're on to the next letter of support. And this is also for a water plan grant, and this is in the conservation and land use category. And it is for a system that would control irrigation across all city parks, facilities, and right-of-ways from one remote location. So it's a smart irrigation central control system. And it could be adjusted to soil moisture and weather conditions, would have automatic shut off. We estimate that in the first year that it would save, would have 20% water savings, which is about 11.83 acre feet. And it really sets the stage for additional water savings, because after we get the smart control kind of master system in, then we start going to all of the individual parks and upgrading the irrigation lines and the sprinkler heads and upgrading that infrastructure, as well as we have sort of an ongoing strategy to look at where we can do some turf replacement, as well as demonstration gardens for water education as well. So this project is identified in the city and Mount Warner Water's Water Conservation Plan, which was adopted in 2019. And so the benefits, and I should say overall, it's a $2.6 million project. And the city has applied for a Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart grant for $1.3 million. And so we haven't nailed down the exact number from the water plan, but we're thinking about 300,000. So I want to verify that with Kevin Reedy at the CWCB, if that's a kind of an appropriate number for this project. And the benefits again would be water savings, more water left in the river to benefit other users, increase resiliency and flexibility during times of drought. It's also just a big saver of staff time to not be running out and manually turning on and off sprinkler systems. And it's also an opportunity for the city to really practice what it preaches. And as we're going to be looking at, improving our landscaping standards to incorporate water efficiency, this is a way where we can practice that on our own facilities and start with that water savings there.
Okay, any questions for Julie?
Hey, Alden, this is Frank. As Julie mentioned, Mount Warner Water was a partner in that water conservation plan where this project is specifically called out. So if I need to recuse myself, I certainly will.
Okay. I really don't think that's necessary. So.
Well,
Tim,
that's not if that's not necessary, I make a motion to recommend approval of a letter of support be written and submitted for the Smart Irrigation Central Control System involving approximately $20,000 of CWCD water plan funding.
And actually, I think we're going to be going for much more than 20,000. I don't know where that number came from.
I have a
but-
on that. It should have been 200,000, but it's now 300,000, I guess. Julie, is that
Well,
what
I mean, I
you're
think we're going to take the CWCB's guidance on what they think would be an appropriate ask, but
okay.
So I could certainly amend that motion and put that 200,000 or $300,000 number in there, whatever suits the board.
Well, let's get that value straightened out before we go ahead and start proposing a letter or get a letter of support out there.
We have 1.3. If we are to get the Bureau of Rec Water Smart grants for 1.3, then we have a 50% match. So we have 1.3 to come up with. So I think I would, I'm going to say 300,000 is what we're planning to ask for, unless I hear from the CWCB that that's too big or small a number.
I understand they adjust grants at times as well. So I understand that. And thank you, Julie, for sharing that. So yeah. Okay, that helps. Okay. Any other feedback or questions?
So are we gonna have a number in there or not? I didn't understand that then, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have 300,000 in there is what it sounds like.
Okay, great, Alden, thank you.
So right now in the letter of support, do you have that up? Can you pull that up, Patrick? In that letter of support, there is not a number. Because
Okay.
they were,
Then
last time I talked to Ginger, they were still working on that, what that number should be.
Okay.
Should it matter to us?
Well, then we're at a letter of support. So we're supporting the project. So,
The project, no, is the way I looked at it.
yeah. So, but we do have a motion on the table. Is there any other discussion? Otherwise, I'm looking for a second.
Brenner, second.
So we have Frank motion, Brenner second, other discussion. Okay, all in favor of the letter support and for the Smart Irrigation Central Control System, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you all for the support.
Yep. And now we've got to go back up to
Good luck.
item 2.
Let's
and
go up.
4.
So let's go up and vote on, so let's go up and vote on White River Integrated Water Initiative. Can you find that one?
Okay.
Yeah, right. Keep going. Right there. Okay, so this is the project that Callie presented involving $149,410 of Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtable funds. So we need a motion for.
I'll make motion. This is Tim Winkler. I'll make the motion for the White River Integrated Water Initiative P3 in the amount of $149,410.
This is Baxter. I'll
Here's
second the
T-Rod.
motion.
I'll second that.
Julie Baxter second. All right. Any discussion?
So I will recuse myself, obviously. This is
Okay.
Callie.
Yeah. There was someone else in the background there. I'm sorry. That's fine. Thank you, Callie. Other discussion?
Was Chris gonna recuse himself for this vote as well?
Yes, Steve, and I'll need to recuse myself from this vote. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you very much.
Alden, this is Jenny. Do I need to as commissioner?
No,
Okay.
nope. So, all right. Any other discussion? All right, great. All in favor of moving this White River Integrated Water Initiative P3 project forward, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion passed. Next one. Steve, which one do you want to do? Dashboard? Yampa-White-Green.
The Yampa-White-Green Pre-K to 12 educational grant. The grant committee recommends approval of that grant request for the full amount of $99,552.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion on this.
Renner moves that we recommend approval of a grant request from the Yampa-White-Green Pre-K to 12 educational grant involving $99,552 of Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtable WSRF funds.
This is Jenny Love and I second that.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion that's on the table, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Pass. Okay. And then the final one, the dashboard, Yampa dashboard.
So the Yampa dashboard, the grant committee recommended approval of that grant request for the Yampa River dashboard project involving $95,000 of roundtable funds.
Okay. Looking for a motion on this as well, folks?
And this is Al Phone. I recommend approval of grant request for the Yampa River dashboard project involving $95,000 of Yampa-White-Green Basin Roundtable WSRF funds.
Okay, nice, Frank. Can I get a second?
This is Chris Collins. I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. I need just discussion.
So are Ken and Doug going to not vote on, are you going to recuse yourselves for this?
They've already done so earlier on.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay.
So, but thank you. Make sure the record shows that with the abstentions that we have tonight. So all in favor of approving the Yampa River dashboard project, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, thank you. You've had a busy committee over there, Steve, so.
I know, we still have one other thing. Go clear back to the top, Patrick, like the 4 slides. So with the, go up one. Oh yeah, right there. That's fine. So with the addition of the additional funds, I would move that we allocate, instead of the $623,000 maximum funding for the 2023 cycle, that we spend up to a maximum of $850,000. I don't know if we can spend it all then, but if we get to like $830,000 roughly, then we get our basin account under the 450,000. That would allow us to get the full 300,000 next year.
Yeah, I think we need to. Yeah.
Okay.
Still Madarack, I'll make a motion that we increase the grant fund allocation from 623,000 to 850,000 for the grant cycle year 2023.
Thanks, Bill.
Second
This
it.
T, right, I'll second.
Kelly.
Callie's got a second. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of increasing the additional funds for the 2023 grant cycle, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Okay, screaming along. Steve, is that all?
That's it, Olden.
All right. And we're gonna, I don't think this will take the full 20 minutes, but Kara Shields and David Graff are gonna be visiting with us. We're about ready to turn the corner on with the White River Management Plan for the programmatic biological opinion. So Kara, are you still with us this evening? I know we're probably a little later than what we anticipated.
I sure am.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. You want me to share my screen, Alden, or were you?
I think we already have it for you, and you just say next slide. So
Okay. I'm not getting it. As long as you all see it, that's fine by me.
Yep. You can let me know.
Al, we're not up yet.
Awesome. That's it. So, oh, did we lose it? Did I just lose it, or did everyone as well?
I don't have it. Here we come again.
There we go. All right, well, hi everyone. Thank you for making time in your schedule for us. I am Kara Scheel. I represent CWCB as our Endangered Species Recovery Program Manager. And this is a position that I started in March. So I'm probably a new face to many of you. And I am joined today by David Graff from the Upper Colorado Recovery Program. You can go on to the next slide. So we're here to give you just a brief update on the White River Management Plan. I know that you all have heard about this a lot in the past, so I'm hoping to keep it brief, but I thought it'd be important to just remind you of why we began on this management plan journey 3-4 years ago, and then kind of give you an update on where we stand today. We'll go over a schedule, but the purpose of our presence at this meeting is largely to solicit some review of the draft plan from this BRT or a small subgroup of the BRT. So we will get to what that looks like. Next slide. I think David is going to present about the fish here. If he's still available.
I'm still here. Can you guys hear me or see me? I can't see my. Can you can hear me okay?
Yes, sir, David.
Great. Thank you. My video is, I saw myself for a moment. It was great to see so many familiar faces. And for those of you who don't know me, I am the instrument flow coordinator for the Upper Colorado River Endangered Fish Recovery Program, transitioning there just a little bit over a year ago. So I'm just going to briefly remind you of the 4 listed fish that we're talking about that occupy, at least 2 of them occupy the White River. And the plan's purpose is really to promote the protection and recovery of the listed fish that occupy the river. Going clockwise from the upper left, that's the Colorado pike minnow. That is the big daddy minnow of them all. It's a top predator, literally in the Upper Colorado and Lower Colorado River system. The one on the right is the razorback sucker. You could notice that it's got a big keel on the top of it. They were nearly extirpated. It was listed back in 1991. The humpback chub was one of the original species listed along with the Colorado pike minnow. That's the one on the lower right, and it has, again, another chub species with a big keel on it. The bony tail, you can see that very, very thin peduncle right before the last tail of the fish. That's the peduncle right there. That's what gives it its name, and it's another chub species. Go ahead, next slide. And just to remind you all, this is the habitat map that we have to find critical habitat in the upper basin, including the San Juan River. You'll notice the White River there is one of those yellow streaks up there. The critical habitat in the White River extends essentially from the mouth of the river down at the confluence with the green up to more or less Rio Blanco Reservoir. The yellow there depicts the Colorado pike minnow critical habitat within the White River Basin. 100, I can't remember what the exact mileage is, but it goes, they historically occupied all the way up to about the location of Rio Blanco Reservoir. And then that lower green part is where the critical habitat with razorback sucker and Colorado pike minnow overlap each other, more or less down on tribal grounds. And just an aside, the Colorado pike minnow, you know, it's crippling along. We're trying to learn more about how it breeds and propagates and recruits new fish into the landscape. But they are somewhat abundant relative to the few thousand that still exist within the system. The adults really do hang out in the White River. They settle in there, they get out of the White River and move around through breeding season, and then they come back and try to reoccupy the White River. So it's a really important and critical link in the greater Green River system, as well as the whole upper Colorado. So go ahead to the next slide, and I think we'll hear from Kara again.
Yeah, so this is my attempt at summarizing a 100-page document into 2 main bullets for you guys. So I view this management plan as 2 major elements, and the first is evaluating the effects of the depletions. And if you remember last time when we talked to you, we spoke about having a phased approach to the management plan, and that means that we've broken up the depletions into 2 future phases. So phase 1 will begin as soon as everything is finalized, and it's what you see here on the screen. And so that encompasses all the current depletions plus an additional 6,150 non-agricultural depletions, as well as 3,500 acres of new agricultural and cultural and habitat uses down in Utah. And then through a modeling process, we looked at what the effects of these phase 1 depletions would be. And then through a lot of work from our planning team and the entities working in the basin, as well as Fish and Wildlife Service, we were able to provide some guidance for offsetting management measures and conservation actions. And so broadly, these are what I have listed here, and they're either continued or future efforts related to flow management and protection, non-native fish control, habitat enhancements, monitoring and restoring the current populations within the White, and some research and monitoring activities as well. So next slide. So both of these things taken together, we hope result in a number of things. The first being endangered species compliance for the existing uses, plus future projects up to that specified amount of depletions under phase 1. And then this document, it also provides guidance for what we're calling a checkpoint. And what that is a list of trigger events that would indicate like the need to evaluate additional depletions on top of the phase 1. And that would include the Fish and Wildlife Service going back to evaluate the status of the listed species and the effects of the depletions and management actions, and then being able to determine if they had some ability to provide additional ESA compliance for more depletions. And that is what we are referring to as phase 2 in the document. This plan also provides kind of guidance for the recovery program to continue their work on recovery management actions or work towards implementing new actions in the future. And then I think there's a couple of less talked about aspects that I think are really important. One being that this plan is a really great tool for providing guidance and a roadmap for management and conservation actions in the future. And it's really like setting a stage for shared goals within the basin. And we're hoping that leads to a lot of collaboration between the individual players. So next slide. So since we have last talked with you all, we now have a full document that's in draft form. And that document includes the phased approach that I mentioned. It also describes the significance of the White River for the listed fish. It evaluates the effects of the existing and phase 1 depletions. It evaluates effects of climate change scenarios. It provides flow recommendations in the critical habitat. It identifies the management actions, and then lastly specifies reporting requirements and review processes to keep this thing going in the future. Next. So as I mentioned, right now we have a draft management plan that is available for review. We have just very, very recently provided this to our White River planning team. And that planning team consists of state representatives such as myself and CPW. It consists of the Fish and Wildlife Service. Alden has been on that planning team since I think the beginning of this project. There's also several other water users represented and environmental entities. So they all will be doing a review of the management plan in the draft form it is in now. We also think that it is incredibly important to our process that we get weigh-in from this group. So we would like to loop you guys in on a review process as well. And we are asking for comments back from the planning team and the BRT mid-December, so December 14th. And then our wonderful consultants over at ERO, they will be doing some final editing, and there'll be one more chance for any final review, December 23rd through January 13th. And we are hoping to finalize this document at our planning team's January 13th meeting. And then following that, 2023 has its own timeline. That would be next steps for this process. So that would include public comment. We would turn the document over to Ecological Services at the Fish and Wildlife Service for their review. And then we anticipate to have a PBO by the end of 2023. So I think that is all of the slides that I have. David or Alden, if you'd like to weigh in on anything I've missed.
I can jump in here if you don't mind. I know early on in the process, the Basin Roundtable was involved. We're going back to Jeff DeVere days to where he participated in a meeting with us as well at the Colorado River District. And in January of 2018, the Basin Roundtable was brought in as the White River Working Group, and the Roundtable agreed to act in that capacity. Well, this is the work that they're asking of the Basin Roundtable to actually do, is to review the White River Management Plan and provide comment back to the recovery program or to the CWCB and the state to get this moved forward. So I know we're looking at a deadline here of December 14th. And I know we don't necessarily aligns with our January board meeting, but I guess we're looking for some volunteers that would be willing to come forward. Do we need to develop a committee? I'm looking for some insight from this roundtable on activities how they would like to proceed. Because I'll be providing comment myself on behalf of the district, but but I'll have my roundtable head on as well. But I'm here to represent my employer in that capacity. So if there are interested individuals on the roundtable, we sure would encourage you to come forward and help us provide feedback on this critical plan that's been in the works now for several years. And we're now getting close to a real finish line here. So any thoughts that anybody would have to share?
Oh, I think you should go ahead and just set up a committee once you ask for some volunteers and have the subcommittee come back with a recommendation.
Okay, anybody right now have an idea on who would like to participate in the committee?
Yeah, this is Chuck Whiteman. I'd like to join in on that. So.
Thank you, Chuck. My goal is to get at least 4 to 5 Basin Roundtable individuals. So, and that's just a goal. So.
Remember that they're gonna start in on the reauthorization of the Yampa PBO after this. I think that has to be done in 26 or 27. So
yeah, that's coming up too. So
So do you want foreigners on that committee or is that a local committee?
Oh, no, I think their foreigners can be on there.
Okay. Well,
Are
I
you
didn't
volunteering
put it-
yourself?
Okay.
I'm glad to hear you're a foreigner. But this is Callie. I'll help you too, Alden.
Thank you.
Put my name down, Alden. This is Steve.
I'm really muffled. Was that Steve?
Steve Hinkmar, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, that gives me 4, but I'm glad to have more. So, and realize that we're going to be hounding you for comments on the schedule. And then we're going to share these with the roundtable to get a consensus because we have deadlines that we're trying to meet here with this group. And like I said, this White River Basin or this White River Management Plan, I've tracked it down to 1983 for when it started.
Alden, this is T. Wright. I do not want to be on the committee, but I do want to add my congratulations to the White River for seeing this to fruition. Because when David Smith and I were representatives on the River District, and that has to go back 30 years ago, we were advocating for this. So good luck.
Thank you. All right, well, and if there's anybody else that would like to know, you have my email, you have my contact information, reach out. Otherwise, I'm going to share your contact information with Kara, and then we can get it emailed to you and start getting your comments gathered up. So I appreciate it.
Alden, this is Chris. If you can go ahead and put me on that review list, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks everyone for your patience and working with us on this. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Couldn't get any of my directors to chime in for that opportunity either. So, okay. And I know I added 9C, but I see that we had that under an election, but Jackie made a suggestion, and I just kind of want to bring, this could be more of an announcement than anything else, is Tom Gray is opting to step down from IBCC. So we have an opportunity for someone, if interested, to work into that capacity on the roundtable. This can be in an elected position, or somebody can just step forward if there's one. But within Senate House Bill 1177 is some outlines about the IBCC, as is on the CWCB website, and also within our bylaws on actually some of the responsibilities that goes forward with the IBCC, because those individuals do also head up our Big River Committee. And and they get involved. That is an involved position. So please take some consideration, contact myself. I'm sure Jeff would offer up some of his knowledge, and would Tom. I'm not trying to throw you guys under the bus, but you guys have the resume where not many of us do. So I'm hoping you would be able to share some of your knowledge and experiences, what's involved with the IBCC. So we'll bring this discussion back to the table, but please take this for consideration. So reports from committees. I know we're past the breaking hour, but we're getting wrapped up. So Ken, Patrick.
PEPO, the community alliance, the PEPO update is, you signed your meeting packet. The radio ads have been out, they stopped in September. The print ads, basically have a BIP update, ran through all the regional newspapers. What else am I thinking, Steve? That's a quick update. Look for more. We're asking to be on the agenda to get the update of what Yampa-White-Green is actually doing for youth education. So as you heard, they reached over 1,700 students last year. So we're trying to get them on the agenda to give them a full update on what they're doing. Join the PEPO committee. We're always at 4 o'clock today before, or the next Sunday. Yeah, right before the meeting. That's all I got. Thanks.
We could be really brief today. I think the main thing to know is that we want to come back and talk a little bit more about our water education initiative that Yampa-White is leading up. and make sure that the entire roundtable understands this very important part of our responsibilities of public outreach and helping everyone understand more about what's going on with water issues in Northwest Colorado. We have the opportunity this next year, now that we've received our $25,000 grant for the upcoming year. We have an opportunity to purchase these canopies that we've got 2 of them, so we're going to try to cover as many public events as we can this next year. Any festivals, county fairs, any opportunity that you see, special events that we can set this up and volunteer. I would challenge every roundtable member to choose at least one time that they can participate and stand behind here. You may not feel like the know-all, end-all, be water expert, but you are. You often will know many of the people that might be at that event, and you can do some introductions, because we'll try to have some support there with you. We did include in the grant application $50 to reimburse you for your time to go pick up the canopy and set it up and return it. So I know that's not much, but we didn't want to not appreciate the fact that you're making use of your time to help support water education in Northwest Colorado. So more to come in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Jeff, are you going to take the helm on this one?
Yes. Patrick, can you go ahead and launch that couple of slides? We'll go quick. I know it's late. I think there's one topic here we can skip, but there we go. Okay, go ahead and go to that first graphic, would you please, Patrick? Thanks. So, folks, thanks for staying with us so late. I know you've seen a lot of numbers, and I have to throw a few back at you, a few more. If you only remember one thing from our report, this slide tells the story of the last 3 years of water use in the Colorado River and how we got into the situation in which we find ourselves today. So you're looking at an orange bar labeled 9.3, almost 9.4 million, 9.6 million, and almost 10 million acre feet on the left. That is the water usage of the lower basin over the last 3 years, averaging about 9.7 million acre feet. The yellow bar represents the use of water in the upper division from 4.56 to 4.5 and a little bit, all the way down to 3.5 million acre feet in the last water year, 2021. So there you see the bar across that represents the 7.5 million acre feet apportionment line. That's the line at Lee Ferry, Arizona, below Lake Powell. That's our compact obligation. Why do Tom and I and the other members of the Big River Committee think this picture is so important? Folks, when you think about the national media and the attention that the Colorado River is getting in the national press, the lower division states, in particular California and at some level Arizona, are winning the messaging battle. You hear story after story about the poor, blighted, municipalities and farmers in California and Arizona, and how the Colorado River is shrinking and how they are going to suffer those consequences, and also how the upper basin needs to come to the table and work together to find solutions. And I even heard one story about how we need to share the pain. Those are my air quotes. Share the pain. Look at those yellow bars one more time. Our usage fell from 4.5 to 3.5 million acre feet in the last 3 years. We have felt the pain. We're already sharing the pain, but that story is not really making it through the national media. So we've got to do a much better job of presenting the picture. And this slide tells that story, I think, almost in a standalone fashion. By the way, it's a slide that was put together by Amy Ostdike of DNR and shared with us at our last IBCC meeting. Okay, Patrick, next. This next picture, and Patrick, I might need you to zoom in just a bit so everyone can. No, I think that's legible. If it isn't, you might have to just zoom in a bit. The graphic at the bottom of this page shows inflow to Lake Powell. So in 2019, that was 12.9 million acre feet. In 2020, down to 5.8 million acre feet. And last water year, 2021, down to 3.5 million acre feet. The red bars show the releases. So those are planned programmatic releases. The Bureau and the lower division work together. They make their operations a plan. In 2019, that was 9 million acre feet. In 2020, 8.23, same last year. In the midst of the drought, 8.23 million acre feet. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you're putting about 7.4 million acre feet into Lake Powell, and you're taking about 8.7 million acre feet out over 3 years, that lake is going to continue to decline. You might, those of you who are standing with me on the numbers might also say, well, no, wait just a daggone minute. If they took 8.2 million acre feet out of Lake Powell, but they used almost 10 million acre feet last year in the third year of the drought, where'd that other 1.7 million acre feet come from? You know the answer. It came from Lake Mead. So the facts of the case are, Patrick, if you could hit the next slide. Just a few facts. Look down to number 6, when Lake Mead is reduced, the operating guidelines provide for the fact that water can be released from Powell. And that is exactly what has happened over the last 3 years. So the rest of these facts, you know that we have all the risk for hydrology variations and climate change. The compact is absolute, 7.5 million acre feet. Of course, they're using way more than that. You may not know that with each 1.8 degree increase in Fahrenheit in temperature, river flow is slowed by almost 10%. That's what the USGS survey tells us. So you get drier, hotter, drier years, reduce soil moisture. Once we put that water into Lake Powell, basically we've lost control. This is the story that we have got to start doing a better job of telling. That leads me to the very final slide here, and I will quit, except for, I guess, a little bit of commentary. We're going to skip the 5-point plan because it's late. In July, the Upper Colorado River Commission wrote a letter to Commissioner Taunton of the Bureau outlining this 5-point plan. It's in your packet. You can read about it. If you have questions, more than happy to talk about that. But it would take us a few minutes, so let's don't go there today. Skip to the very next one, Patrick. Originally, my idea was to write a letter of support to Commissioner Towton and actually the River District, which had written an excellent letter regarding updating the operational guidelines after 2026. That was my idea. Let's just, it'll be easy. Let's just write letters of support taking that position. But after the last Big River Committee meeting, we agreed that that wasn't really enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop our own position statement, incorporating elements of the pre-2026 crisis support for immediate relief, crisis mitigation, and strategies for the post-2026 guidelines. Now we've kind of got an outline of that document together. It's a bit early to share that, but it does incorporate elements from both the crisis mitigation standpoint and the operating guidelines standpoint. We're hoping to get that ready for you to look at and read and support at the January meeting. In order for that to happen, we're going to have a Big River Committee meeting in early December and put some flesh on the bones of the outline. But we will be closer for sure by the December meeting to having actual language in each of about 6 particular topics. So that's where we are today. Sorry for the speed with which we raced through that, but it just seems to us that it's vital that we're telling our story in the upper division. And that is, despite the media campaign that the lower basin seems to be winning, we've just got to get a leg up and get better at telling our story. Okay. Sorry to hit you with that big old load right at the end of the day. I'm happy to take any questions. Tom, if you think I skipped anything too fast, please jump in.
Anybody got any feedback for Jeff? Questions, comments?
Jeff, this is Tim Winkler. I think that was very good, very informational, and I agree 100%.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, hey, Jeff, this is Steve. Just get notice of when you're thinking of having the meeting out so we can get it scheduled.
Okay. We're looking to do, because of the nature of the thing, we're hoping to do it in person. But because of the importance of this topic and the fact that we really need contributions from as many people as we can get, we may try to do it in a hybrid way. So we'll probably need Ms. Camblin to help us with that. Tom and I need to kind of get our heads back together around the schedule, but we'll darn sure make sure everybody's aware of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff, we definitely I count on me participating as well. And I think we are obliged to always offer any of the Big River Committee meetings as a hybrid option in order to meet the requirements of the open meetings law. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend your last meeting, but this is important stuff and we want to make sure we get good representation there.
Yeah, that's a real good point, Ken. You're absolutely right.
Roundtablers, if there's an area you want to get involved in, this might be one of them. This is something you need to be paying attention to. There's some serious stuff getting ready to negotiate that has the ability to really impact your way of life up here in Colorado. So big time, big time.
Yeah, you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight.
No, and this is very real. So, okay. Well, that's it. Otherwise, item 11. Okay. I'm going to do staff recognitions again because I know tonight I witnessed something again, and I really wanted to be there in person with everyone. But 8 inches of snow, I'm not going to turn it away, especially when we live in the desert, of course. But I guess you all folks kind of seen how our elections kind of rolled out tonight. And that was a pretty good team effort that I saw. And some of these were volunteers tonight, that came in, and some are learning. So, and I thought our election went very well. And it was presented very well to myself, and the concept, I believe, will carry on through future elections. But Patrick, Megan, and as Caitlin's going to soon learn, they are an invaluable piece for our Basin Roundtable, and they keep a lot of us moving forward. And they work an awful lot of hours behind the scenes, a lot more than what people recognize. So I know I work very closely with several of these people. And I know Megan's leaving, and I am so happy that she was able to work with us for over the years. It's sad to see her go, but yet where I see her going is an advancement, and it's refreshing as I've seen some of our recorders come in and use our roundtable as a stepping block or a stepping stone, however you want to say it, for them to advance into something greater. And April was one of them. Megan's right there, and it'll be great to see where Caitlin goes with this. So yeah, I feel that you guys help make for some better people, and you help educate people that I know these individuals actually go out there and share as well. So, and Patrick, he's out there always mixing it up with Community Ag Alliance as well, but even on his own personal time. So, I tip my hat to you individuals. You do a lot, and I don't think you get enough recognition. So I'm going to keep spouting that because I truly believe that. So Megan, you will be missed. But I'm still here as a colleague. If there's something you need, I'm sure our roundtable will be willing to come in and lend you some support wherever we can. So, and you're always welcome to come back and join us. So we wish you well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next roundtable meeting is January 11th, 2023 at CNCC. I'm really hoping that we can meet in person, but if another 8 inches is going to dump on us, I'm going to take that too. So, encourage everybody that if you can get in there, let's get in there and let's sit down and have a face-to-face, because I really think they're great. So we'll do what we can with that. So anybody else have any other business they would like to share tonight?
Alden, this is Callie, and I do just 2 really brief things, invitations, basically. One being the water seminar series that Dr. Sullivan is doing through the CNCC. The first one will be next Tuesday at 2:30. And if I didn't already, I will send Patrick the link to that. It's Zoom. I don't think there's any charge to it. And that's one of the things that's kind of come out of our the White River Initiative. So that would be one thing. The other is we don't have an exact date yet, but the second week of December, and I'll be happy to send Patrick this too, so that everybody could know, we will have our next PAC meeting, and I would invite anyone that wants to come and see what we do from anywhere. You're welcome to come. Those are always open meetings. So we'll keep those dates out there for you to attend as well. So that's all that I would have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anyone else?
So Alden, hey, this is Doug. I guess so, just reminding myself that during our public comment and the rest, we ought to have a spot in there for Aaron Light.
We do. And Aaron was reached out. I do reach out to her every meeting, and she recognized our agenda was full and yielded her time to our roundtable business.
Thank you very much. Good deal.
Anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to say happy Thanksgiving and happy New and Merry Christmas, everyone, and look forward to visiting with you all next year. So some of you will meet around the horn here in our community. So God bless, and we'll talk with you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.